Hey guys, welcome to ClevelandMoto Podcast number 503. Light 'em up, boys! So much.
I'm gone dry.
Margaritas don't fizz, man.
Right, I'm not joking. So today we have Oscar back in the house.
Oscar!
To my immediate left we have,
Sean Noel.
and to his left we have,
Dan Krupke.
and to his left we have,
Oscar.
and to his left on the boards,
Steve Sleepy.
and behind him is,
Johnny Matt.
and to his left,
Speedy Pete.
and in the corner,
Chris Smith.
yeah, you're literally coming around third base right now.
Yeah.
One
Right.
more person and we have to get a special license.
And tonight, catcher,
Tom Pennington.
Tom Pennington's behind the mound.
And I'm behind all of the green.
This band, this
Oh, wait,
collection.
let's bring this up. Okay, hold on. There it is. Oh, wait, no, you can't see it. Oh, it's the old thing.
That's not it.
There it is.
When
There it is.
you
There
called
it
him
is.
catcher, was that a sports reference or a sexual reference?
John, lean that
Yes.
It could go either way.
way. Other way.
There is
There we
a
go.
embarrassment of green-colored liquor behind us right now. Sleepy, how did that happen?
Well, I've never won anything in my entire life. And so we went, the rescue that rescued my dog Kaya, the Great Dane that we have, has a yearly fundraiser.
They rescued her from you?
Yes. No, she rescued
And the
me,
chickens.
so I thought I was rescuing her. Yeah.
Who
Anyway,
rescued who?
so we go and support the rescue, and so I get them Summit stuff and donations. Then they they do the thing and they raise money and they save dogs, and so they have all these prizes. So we're sitting there, and there's like 1,000 people there, right? For some reason, our table got the mojo.
Oh, yeah.
So it started on the other side. These two old ladies won 2 in a row. Okay, 2 like whatever they won, right? So I was like, well, our table's done because they won stuff.
They won the trip to Cancun and the pair of matching jet
Exactly.
skis.
So
Yeah.
I'm sitting there, and then Amy goes, holy shit, that's my number. And she jumps up, and she comes back with an entire set of golf supplies.
Oh, she got a whole set of golf bats?
Yeah, it's in my trunk. If anybody
Nice.
golfs, I'm going to hook you up. All right, yeah, all right.
Yeah, we might divvy that up later.
Well, okay, she won. None of us golfed. Useless, right?
Right.
I think there's a pair of socks I might steal out of there. Okay. Besides that, okay.
They're comfy.
So then B wins, and B gets a big thing of dog toys. And I'm like, well, holy shit, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I can't believe it. We are so fortunate. And within the time I'm thinking that, they call my fucking number. So now the people are like, fuck, what's going on with that table? What is that?
Nice.
And so I'm like, what did I win? They're like, you won $1,000 worth of booze.
You, ain't $100 cooler.
Yeah. Well, I do
Yeah.
like the cooler.
Yeah,
I'm
The
not-
cooler's really nice, yeah.
But anyway, so I was like, yeah, I don't drink.
To the non-drinking
So
guy.
everybody was trying to trade me. I'll give you these,
Yeah.
this pack of gum for those bottles. I'm like, I have friends that'll make use.
I know what I got.
Aggressive bartering.
That cooler will come in handy at Mid Ohio for the ice.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Many, many years ago, we did one of those raffles for
Oh gosh.
one of the
Man down.
Camera
one of
down.
the local Catholic groups or whatever
down.
we were involved with. And the item that we donated was a buddy scooter.
See a little twisty.
So we donated a 50cc buddy scooter that we just couldn't sell at the shop. Like this thing was not moving. And they came in and they said, well, we really want to have a scooter to be a premier product, a premier giveaway. And so I was like, yeah. And they were like, yeah, we want to get a Vespa. It's a big deal. It's like Italian church, the whole thing. We want to make sure we're giving away a really prime product. And I said, that's great. I happen to have a Vespa 50cc scooter that we would love to give you a special deal on. And the special deal is, well, aren't you going to donate it? No, I'm not going to donate it. I'm going to sell it to you at cost, right? That's a good camera shot. I like that one. Yeah.
No, the other way.
Yeah, they're just going to strap that right to John's face. Yeah, that's pretty good. And
There you go.
there you go. And you know what's funny is they negotiated themselves down to a 2-year-old dead stock Buddy 50 was where their budget was. But I told them, I was like, you guys are selling raffle tickets for $20 a ticket. That's a pretty good product. That's a pretty good thing. I said, I think you'll do okay for it because you don't have to sell that many tickets to break even on that scooter. So they did, and it did go great. And they were super thrilled about it. They sold metric shit tons of tickets. And when they gave, the scooter was like the big prize. So at the end of the night, they give away all the other prizes. They give away the scooter. And the people, when they gave the scooter away, the place went bonkers. So massive effect. We were very happy with that. It made us look great. And then, though, everybody ran up to the winners and said, hey, I will buy that off of you. And I was listening to some of the offers that were being thrown down. And the offers were well over retail. Way the hell over retail. And I told the guy, I was like, look, I'm not telling you how to live your life. But I've heard you I've heard you refuse offers that are beyond the retail price of the 125cc version of that 50cc scooter. So here's the move. Sell it here tonight to somebody else. And then come into the shop and get yourself the 125 with all the trimmings, and you'll be much happier. And they were like, I can do that? And I was like, yes, you can do that.
This is America.
That's a thing you can do. And they showed up at my shop 3 days later and were like, yep, we want the red one. And they literally turned their 50 into a 125 through the power of other people being sad that they missed out on it in the auction. It was great in the raffle.
The art of the deal.
It was truly the art of the deal. We were talking, as the podcast was we were getting fired up, we were talking about how people blow money racing. Like how expensive racing is. So just yesterday, we had this guy come into the shop. He's a very normal-looking dude. When I describe the guy, you would not think this guy goes 200-plus miles an hour on a Hayabusa.
Yeah.
Because this guy's just a normal dude. This is
Was he at the track that I was at today? Because there was a dude in a Hayabusa for whiskey grade Sean's clothing company in the area on a white
This guy's
Hayabusa.
got a super dark colored, naturally aspirated Hayabusa.
No, this one was
But
turbo.
he said so the reason he came into the shop was he was in an emergency situation because he needed brake pads.
Oh.
And so he showed up at the shop and he's like,
Yeah, you do.
I need brake pads now. And I went, well, I have a box of brake pads, but I'm going to tell you, we don't really speak Hayabusa here. He goes, good, because my brakes on the front of this bike are not Hayabusa brakes. I said, well, that's interesting. That's a 200-plus motorcycle you got there. He goes, yeah, we run down over 200. And I'm like, so what kind of brakes do you have? And he holds up these
50.
little adorable 1.5 inch by 1.5 inch brake pads. And I went, I know what those are. And he goes, yeah. He goes, they're from it says it's a Grameca. And I said, yeah, those are Stella brakes. And he goes, what? And I said, those are Stella brake pads. And I go into my box of brake pads, and I just fish out. And I'm not joking when I tell you these are slightly bigger than a postage stamp.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Oh, my word.
These are super tiny.
Oh, dude, the guy that today on the turbo boost are running 7.2 at 204 miles an hour.
That's
or
where this
something
guy
like
is. Yeah.
Front rotor was that big.
Yeah.
It was a fucking bicycle. It looked like a mountain bike rotor on the front of the
Well,
bike.
I mean, I can promise you that the brake pads that this system is part of, these brake pads, are the swept area on that rotor is very, very small. I mean, the diameter of the wheel is 10 inches.
You're
right?
dealing with a 10-inch wheel.
10-inch wheel. And when I held them up, because he brought the dead ones in, and they were dead. He was like, no material left. They were right on.
Change them every 2 runs or something? Like,
well, and I was like, okay, forgive my fucking naivete on here, but I've gone down the racetrack more than a bunch of times. At the end of the racetrack, it's super important to stop. Right?
Really?
Yeah.
Right? And he's like, yeah, Norwalk especially, because it's kind of rough and you really want to have a lot of brake authority. And I'm like, what do you mean you want to have a lot? You
don't want to go into the sand either.
Yeah, for real. Like when the track's over, the race is over, and that shouldn't be your life's over too. Right? And I said, so you're using these wee little bitty tiny brake pads to stop a 400-pound motorcycle that's going over 200 miles an hour.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it seems like a bad equation.
What can go wrong?
I said, I think that I would want to have a lot more than these 2 little brake pads and this one little tiny caliber and that one little tiny rotor. That's what he said.
Yeah.
He goes, no, it's too heavy.
Yeah.
And I went, at what price? And I looked at the guy, and he was carrying about 60 extra pounds.
Well, that's where they have to find the weight.
Right. And I was like,
most of these guys aren't light.
Right. And I looked at this dude, and this guy was 60 pounds overweight. And I'm like, this is your bike. You're piloting this. And he's like, yeah. He goes, every pound counts. And I went, I said, okay, Jenny Craig. Not for nothing.
Hand him 2 little pound, like the little weights.
But I was just like, dude, if every pound counts, you need to find a different pilot for your motorcycle, right?
Put down the double cheeseburger with donut bun.
Find a 15-year-old anorexic to run your bike for you and put real brakes on it.
Oscar is literally sitting here.
Put 20 pounds of brakes on that bike.
Well, that's what,
so that you can stop.
So this Larry Nance showed up today at the track. So I was at the track. We had a Summit Racing Employee Day.
I've heard that name.
So Larry Nance is a Cavs player. He's 7'4", and he's into drag racing, right?
Okay.
And I'm like, well, how?
Right.
And then he likes to wrench on him. He exactly does what you just said. He hires a guy to drive the car.
That's
because, dude, you know how dragsters are pretty low to the ground?
Yeah.
It was at his kneecap.
Well, yeah.
Like he's trying to talk to the driver, and he's standing next to him, and his kneecaps are staring at him in the face. It was.
Come up here and talk to me.
You ever seen horse jockeys? Yeah. I mean, there's literally a contest to throw them.
Right. Yeah. It was so funny, but I was and I sold him the brake pads, and when I showed him the bike that the brake pads came off of, I said, I just have to show you these brake pads were designed to stop that bike. And he looks at it and he goes, wow. And I went, yeah. That's a bike with 11 horsepower on its best day. Yeah. Top speed 60 when it's screaming.
Single piston,
exactly. And I'm like, so this is stopping.
What's a PX150?
What he didn't tell you was, though, that it was cable
PX150.
activated.
I'm
he
sure
took
it was
off the
cable.
hydraulic part.
Well, that's,
There's
too much weight.
No doubt in my
Because
mind.
that's the 19 millimeter Vespa PX conversion is the cable actuated to the hydraulic cylinder.
Look, I would just the good news was I told him, I said, well, the good news is I don't know how long it took you to burn through these pads, but anytime you need more, I got a box of them.
Oh, absolutely.
Right? And he was like, well, how expensive are they? And I said, expensive? They're like $18.
Yeah.
Right? And he goes, really? They're $18? And I said, yeah, they're $18, man. $18. Go have fun. And he goes, oh, he said, I thought that because this was an exotic Italian braking system. And I'm like, this is not even an exotic Indian braking system.
Right. Right. We can sell you the Prima version or the EBC.
I sold him the EBCs, man, and he was totally happy with the EBCs. And what he had on it originally were Ferrotos.
Oh, God.
So he had Ferrotos on it from the factory. I gave him the EBCs, and I was like, this is an upgrade. And it was funny because he was just like, he goes, well, I said, so is there a company that you bought those from? Like, did you buy your calipers? Did you buy your brakes? He goes, yeah, they're really fucking expensive. And I was like, they really fucking shouldn't be.
Yeah, right.
And when I showed him the brakes on the front of a Stella, he goes, yeah, that's exactly what I'm running. And I'm like, wow.
You can literally buy a whole Stella, take the brake system off of it, and then give it to us.
Give the Stella to somebody else.
We will exchange brake pads for your entire bike.
I will give you a lifetime supply of brake pads. Since you're throwing away the rest of the bike, clearly. Yeah, it was fucking hilarious. But I was like, that's just how funny. Like, they'll spend $1 million on everything else. So, yeah, for the guy who's just like unboxing made in India Grameca fake calipers and stuff, he's probably making a fortune repackaging it as like Hayabusa Stopper 10,000s.
Dude, the money that these guys spend, like we were just talking about, like just normal dudes, not like sponsored drivers, not anything, and not all of them. Obviously,
I'm talking
there's
$50 for a gallon of gas.
Yeah, but I mean, obviously, you got some guys with their landscaping trailer pulling in their fucking Chevy, with, whatever.
And they're
but a lot of these
naked
guys,
children.
Yeah, but a lot of these guys are like we were saying, $500,000 toter home with a $30,000 trailer with a $150,000 pro stock with no sponsors.
Right.
Like this, like on the side, it'll be like Jack's Racing. And like, who are you? I'm Jack. You know,
His sponsor is Long King.
Yeah.
Right. Your other sponsor, Fix a Flat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy, man. It's crazy.
That's a weird thing. I can't imagine living that life, man. I cannot. For the life of me. We're going to get to a bunch of stuff tonight. Absolutely. But Oscar, what have you been working on? You've been gone for so long.
Well, I got the Fuji Rabbit running. So that's a good.
Well, now last time we talked, you had ridden the Fuji Rabbit all the way to Chicago.
Yeah.
And then rode it all the way home.
Yep, that was fun.
Now, what year's your Fuji Rabbit?
62.
And how many cc's does it have?
200.
Yeah.
Yeah, 200. Fuji 200.
Yeah, it's 200 cc's.
Yeah.
Hydraulic suspension.
Hydraulic suspension. Yep.
Variamatic liquid drive transmission.
Which is weird. I didn't know that was is that the only one that actually did that?
Yeah, it's a fluid drive.
Yeah,
fluid drive transmission.
Yeah.
It's not a CVT.
No.
It's legitimately a fluid drive transmission system.
Oh,
very
so
cool.
it's a hydro,
it's a Torque-O-Matic.
like a Cub Cadet.
It is. Yeah. It's a hydro drive. Yeah.
It's a couch. It's comfy as fuck. It's so good.
It made me so happy to see you last September ride that bike to Chicago. And then, no shit, ride it all around at the events and do everything else, and then ride it home. Yeah. And what award did you take for that? You got
People's Choice.
People's Choice.
So thanks for taking the trophy, because they fuck with me hard.
Yeah.
So they gave me the People's Choice, and they moved the trophies around so they could give me the thickest, most heaviest fucking trophy just to fuck with me, so I can actually ride it back to Milwaukee.
That trophy was somebody's takeoff motor components trophy. Like, it was somebody's takeoff motor components box welded together. So it was about 7 different motor parts.
It was the piston, the spring, and then the combustion.
The entire cylinder.
Yeah.
It had a giant heavy duty spring going through the middle of it, and then it had the piston welded to the top. Easily 30 pounds wet weight, you know?
Easy.
Crazy heavy award. But that was cool.
Yeah.
That was
That's
great.
like a lot of the chopper shows do that. You go to the chopper shows and they just hand
Furthest
you
ridden?
a pile of trash that's welded together. You're like, hey, thanks a lot.
Great. Cool.
I got a perfect place for this.
Yeah, I'm gonna put it where it should have been in the recycling. I'm gonna take a picture of me with it, put it on my wall, and then recycle that.
Yeah.
It's welded together, used up brake pads from a Stella that came off a Hayabusa.
I used to keep a box of dead shifting crosses at my shop. So we would change shifting crosses all the time. It's a wear and tear item on these bikes, and so I just had a bevy of them, probably 100 shifting crosses. And a friend of mine said, "Hey, I want to make some art. Do you got any shifting crosses lay around?" And I said, "I'll bring them to the next rally."
All of them.
And I took over 100 shifting crosses and dumped them on the guy. And the guy was like, "I was thinking like 6." And I was like, "They're yours now, pal. I don't even know why I've been keeping them. It's just the dumbest thing."
Upscale your project.
Yeah, clearly.
It's like when I came in and you had 1,000, not kidding, 1,000 grab rails from every Vespa you had ever sold.
Still do.
And we got rid of about 3 buckets full.
We did. Yeah, and I just keep adding to the pile.
I kept trying to get somebody to make a dinosaur out of them.
Again, if you got the time, we've got the weird steel project.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we got the weird chrome pieces. If you want to build a skeleton of something, we have all the ribs you'll ever need. You can have all the ribs. Now you have gotten not 1 but 2 licenses.
Yes.
We noticed that. You've acquired 2 different certifications.
Yep.
Since you've left Cleveland.
So
what are they?
so first of all, I actually got my legit motorcycle.
Oop, yep.
What was that?
Is it working?
Don't touch that. Yeah.
No touching.
No touch.
Don't touch it.
I got my actual driver's license for motorcycles.
Oh, your
for the first
motorcycle
time,
endorsement.
because technically, don't touch it. Because technically, so I got my green card.
Right.
So I was driving quasi dirty because technically, if you're not a resident, there's a loophole that I can actually have my still Mexican driver's license and still use it.
Right.
But since I got my green card, I was like, I should get my motorcycle.
Might not be the
license.
worst idea.
So in Wisconsin, you have to get that to go down to the dispensary?
Yes.
It's a green card.
Yeah. No, that not that one. Not
Different
that
kind of green
one.
card.
Different green card.
Oh, I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, and I just recently got my ham radio license as well. So
Last time we were hanging out,
73s.
I gave him a Baofeng.
What's your call sign?
KE9 DGA.
All right. Good man.
Kilo Echo,
Kiko Echo 9.
Niner,
Yeah,
Delta,
Golf,
Juliet,
yeah,
Alpha.
Golf
Yeah.
Alpha. Yeah.
Or Delta Golf
Golf
Alpha.
Alpha,
Yeah.
So
Go Delta Golf Alpha.
part of Summit Racing, the other half, a small section of it is called DX Engineering. It's our ham radio division.
Because you didn't have enough old man shit.
Right. But what I was about to say is like Oscar is falling into a world that like you think it's bad when you pull up to a gas station with your 72 fucking CB550 or whatever. This is beyond that.
Yeah.
And it's so bizarre. So like as a professional videographer, when we set up for live streams and stuff, we make it look like a news show, you know, to do it.
Yeah.
So we set up for DX Engineering and the guy sees the monitor. He goes, "Oh no." We're like, "What?" He goes, "I just want to see the radios. Can we just be little heads in the corner?"
Oh my god! Just a fucking radio pervert.
Dude, it's
Yeah.
So now the problem is when he goes anywhere and he's riding a vintage bike, and he's got his official ham radio operator's license plate because they have those.
Vanity plates.
Vanity
got a
plates for
vanity
ham
plates
radio.
for-
Can you just video the sound coming out of the radio?
Yeah. No, but listen to this shit, dude.
Just give me nothing but the oscilloscope. All I want to see is the
Oh,
feed.
yeah.
I want to
That's
know
the-
if he gets to this. So we just visited a dude and we did a video of this guy. He had 17 stations in his control room.
Sure.
Each station had multiple antennas that were rotatable, controllable, raisable, lowerable, all from controls in the basement. So at one point we're filming him and he's like dialing this dude in Russia.
Yeah.
That's like he's like he hates
antenna.
what's going on in
Yep.
Russia. This dude's living in the middle of like Siberia somewhere,
Yeah.
like in a station, and he's getting this guy, and they're talking, and he's translating because the dude speaks Russian and hardly any English, and it was fucking amazing. But he's sitting there in this. We're underground in this dude's basement.
Of course
and
you
it's
are.
like it's like it's like going.
And then
like
his
that.
mom brought you down some Hot Pockets.
Well, he was 70. He was 78, so I don't know if his mom would legitimately be able to do that.
His mom brought him Hot Pockets
mom
for
brought him
50
Hot
years.
Still going.
But it's going like. So he grabs this knob and he's like turning it. And I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, oh, I'm turning the antenna that's at the 150-foot fucking antenna in my backyard that he had to get a blinking light for so airplanes don't hit it. All for his little fucking ham radio hobby. These guys get serious, man.
And they get super excited when they're like, I'm bouncing this off the stratosphere and talking to somebody in Uzbekistan right now.
And, dude,
I'm
some
like,
of those...
no, you're talking to a guy at the end of your street who's fucking pulling your leg.
Yeah, maybe. But some of those head units are like $8,000 and stuff. It's insane, man.
And I already found the website, so you can actually talk to the International Space
The
Station.
ISS. Right.
Yeah.
That's
The guy at work was like he had, I think, a ham radio in his truck, and he was that guy who had like this mast, off the bumper. I'm like, that's better be like just under 13 foot 2 inches or something like. Just
This was in Cleveland.
Yeah.
The black guy.
no.
Or usually are right. Yeah,
but
that's a huge thing in that community. When you get downtown.
Already got the antenna for the car.
There you
I didn't
go.
stick it in there. The magnetic ones are just like, and they run the cable through.
And also considering that your car is a gold-colored RAV4 that should just have come with handicap plates.
Oh, dude, if I park my Dodge next to your RAV4, people would we'd get free ARP shit everywhere, dude.
You didn't even have one, and somebody stuck a handicap placard on your car.
No, you left this at home. Sorry.
Yeah.
ARP,
I got you, fam.
The ARP wagon just shows up.
You pull up in front of a Walmart, and people are getting out of your way so you can park in handicap spots.
Dude, you
pull
show
into-
up with old man gold posse of cars, you're in.
Oh, look, Denny's. Let's go to Denny's.
You pull into McDonald's and they have the free coffee waiting for you.
Oh, yeah.
Denny's.
The only good part, too, is that you never get pulled over, ever.
Yeah.
They're like, that guy's 90.
Amateur radio license plate. The cop does not. That is toxic to a cop. He's like, I'm not going to pull that guy over. He's just going to bend my ear.
Oh, God.
Oh, what kind of system you got in the trunk? Got a Motorola? Got an 800 system back there?
I started
look
going
at
to Big Boy on the weekend. Yeah.
Oh, look at that LiDAR. That LiDAR is totally like 10% inefficient.
So you've got your ham license. This started because I went.
It's your fault.
I'm
You
a-
started this shit.
So I'm like I'm a super casual prepper. So I'm a super casual prepper, like not boot, like I'm not a boot guy. I'm just kind of a light duty prepper. And I was like, oh, you know what? I'm gonna get a couple of Baofeng Chinese radios. So just in case something weird happens, I can talk to Merritt from the shop.
Yeah.
You know, line of sight, pretty much. Nothing fancy. I just want to be able to have a super duper backup to have a relatively simple communication system. So I'm like, yeah, I'll get a couple of Baofengs. That'll be fine. And then I got the Baofengs, and I read the owner's manual, and I became more confused than I was before I owned the Baofengs. I actually went backwards. So I was like, I know less about radios than I did when I started. So Oscar showed up at my house one day, and I was like, oh my God, Oscar's the perfect guy. Giving Oscar a piece of electronic technology is like essentially giving a cat access to an unlimited supply of catnip.
Oh, no.
I handed him the radio and the battery pack, and I was like, here, enjoy this. Play with it. Have fun with it. And Oscar was like, really? And I'm like, yes. Because what I knew would happen was he would do exactly what he's doing.
Yeah.
He would do exactly what he's doing. And then once he's mastered it, he'll give me all the cheat codes.
Already flashed like new firmware and just custom.
So this is my point.
Yeah.
The best training I did, rather than me taking a course and learning how to use it, is to just buy one for him, give him one of mine, and then at some point we can sit down and he can give me a 1 hour block of instruction, and I'll know how to use the thing I bought without putting any time into it.
We're
Oscar?
going to use it over the weekend. I already have.
Oh, you already have
stuff
figured it out?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, boy.
Figured,
Yeah. So I think that's hilarious. And so then what's your other license you got?
Oh, for the quadcopter, I'm actually quasi licensed to actually.
So who at
fly
this
it
table
around.
has a license to fly a drone?
I have a license to kill gophers.
And who at this
Issued
table
by
was,
the United Nations.
and who at this table was just flying his drone dirty?
And I was going to say, and who's
I
flying
have
their
a
drone
license.
dirty?
Dirty.
I'm not dirty.
You're commercial dirty.
Commercial. Yeah.
He's
I'm not
commercial
commercial.
Yeah, I'm commercial. Cool.
He's commercial.
I don't need a license. It's 249 grams. I'm 1 gram
That's
away.
true. That's true. But you do have to register with the
You
FAA.
still have,
Speaking of
if
that,
it's on the 250, you don't.
why did the Irish guy only eat 239 beans? one more and he'd have been too farty.
Too farty? Nice. Oh, that's good. That's good. Yeah, it is funny now that. So now we should have the ClevelandMoto Drone Club now because there's.
Oh no! This year at Mid Ohio we can actually drone race.
Yes,
I
we
was the
can.
only one last time. Now we can roll.
Now we can roll.
Yeah,
Exactly. Right.
And Nick is
drone
getting
barrel
into it
racing.
again.
Oh, dude, drone barrel racing at Mid Ohio.
This is going to turn into pod racing scene.
Fuck yeah, dude.
Hell yeah.
This
And
is
fuck
where
them, they can't tell us not to because when they come by, we just go up.
Right.
Just go into the trees.
Where'd they go? They were raptured up. They just disappeared. Yeah, they went away.
Nice.
Yeah. And John, it is remarkably quiet. Like, that's, I'll say, is the
Checking in from Switzerland.
Grumpy Sewer.
Guten Tag.
Hey, so we have,
Zeitz.
I'm going to read this. Perry Descartes, Grumpy Sewer Guy Fan Club, European Headquarters, checking in from Switzerland, Schweiz, at 2:25 a.m.
He's just staying up to hang out with us.
Guten Morgen.
Grumpy Sewer Guy. Grumpy
Have
Sewer Guy
another
is
one.
literally the only person that didn't show up for tonight's podcast.
Welcome to Armed Forces Radio Europe. It's 2:25 a.m. in Central Europe.
Calling in from
At
CH.
the sound of the bell, it'll be 2:25 in Central Europe.
Nice.
Yeah.
Actually, I lived in Switzerland for like a month and a half for work.
You did?
Yeah, in Solothurn.
Oh, that's very
Super
cool.
nice. Love that place.
Again,
CH for life, man. It's all good.
got the little European license
I know,
sticker
yeah.
plate. Yeah.
Did you
wanted
do
to-
any banking?
No, I wanted to steal one of those plates, and they were like, "Don't do it."
No, you don't steal that.
Yeah.
Well, I was gonna borrow it and
Yeah.
just fly out with it, and they were like, "No, if they catch you with the plates,
I-
no, not a good thing."
I bought one in East Germany, a metal one. Like you
Yeah,
know,
they're
the
the slim super. Oh,
yeah, I bought
so
a
good.
metal oval D plate one of my trips over there, and you know they have these vendors selling stuff to GIs and everything else. This is before the wall came down, and I paid an obscenely small amount of money for it. By the time you switched in American dollars into Deutschmarks into Ostmarks, right? So by the time you did two conversions, it was like negative 38 cents for me to get this license plate. And I bought this for this little shield, right? This little number shield thing, and I bought this D shield, put it on the in my bag, and I was bringing it back, and they didn't have a problem. I had a pair of Zeitz like binoculars, I had a blanket, I had all the things you're allowed to buy.
How about an air rifle?
Air rifle! I should have bought an air rifle. God damn it! I missed out on the air
How
rifle.
about the binoculars, too?
I get the binoculars, and I still have them. Because the problem is we change the money going in, but you can't bring the money back out again. So you got to spend it all while you're there. So the guys that have the stalls real close to Checkpoint Charlie, they're making bank. Perry Descartes, yes, Solothurn is like 10 miles from me. Nice.
So nice. Yeah.
So what is that in cheese units?
Yeah, no. Yeah, they have a massive armory there. Oh, so good.
Oh, they do?
Oh, yeah. Solothurn
that's
has a massive
big
museum.
armory?
Yep.
Oh, that's
World War
fun.
II. Like,
Is that the one where you can shoot over the Autobahn? Like you can shoot over
I wish.
one of those ranges in Switzerland. You're actually shooting over the freeway.
Nice.
But when I got all that cool shit, and the only thing they gave me static about when I came back across the border was that freaking number shield. And they're like, no, you can't buy these. And I said, what do you mean you can't buy it? And they're like, those are East German government property. I went, no, it just is a fucking piece. It's a metal plate with the letter D on it, dude. There's no numbers on it. It's not registered anything. And he goes, no, those are made by the East German government. Those are the East German government property, and you have to turn them in. And I went, I bought it from...
It's going to cost you 38 cents.
I bought it from the equivalent of an East German hillbilly, right? At a in a little pop-up shop, right?
nice.
And I said, well, can I pay a duty or a tariff on it or anything like that? And they're like, absolutely not. You can't take that. That's a crime. You can go to jail for that shit.
Hill Dietrich.
And I was kind of like, all right. So I was like, yeah, okay, just take it. And the guy was like, well, no, you don't understand. I can't just take it. I can't take it. I can't have that property. Oh. And then I realized when he said he couldn't take it, that what he really wanted was money. And I realized that this is how he supplements his paltry income. And so I said, so I'm not allowed to have it. And you're not allowed to have it. So what is it going to cost me to make this disappear?
Yeah.
Right.
Right?
Wink, wink.
And he
nudge,
goes,
nudge.
38 cents.
and he was like, well, how much money? Because you're not allowed to leave East Germany with any East German money.
Yeah.
So
Give me
you
all
have
of
to spend it all down or give it away because you're not allowed to take any out of it. And he goes, well, are you leaving East Germany with any Deutsch, Ostmarks?
Oh, that's a scam to get everybody's last of their loot.
And I was like, no, I'm not. And he goes, no, really, are you? Because we all keep some.
Yeah,
It's a souvenir.
all the coins and stuff. Yeah, have all the stuff.
you got, and you keep coins everywhere we go. Yeah, right. So I was like, so I had a pocket full of shrapnel or whatever, whatever you
Love
got.
that Natasha Bedingfield song.
Exactly. And so I'm like, okay. I was just like, okay, screw it. So I just reached into my pocket, grabbed a handful of Kleingeld, and I'm like, this is what I got. And the guy goes, you have any American money? Very quietly. And I went,
greenbacks, baby.
$10. And he goes, and I gave him a $10 bill. And Doug Henning can't pull magic off the way this guy did. You never saw his hands move. I pulled $10 out of my pocket, and before it cleared oxygen, he had it. It was gone. It just evaporated. And he goes, put that in your bag and don't say anything about it. And I put the little sign. And I put that thing on 9 cars that I had while I lived in Germany.
Hell yeah.
To have that DDR, to have a DDR plate was so cool.
So 5 minutes later, he goes, I start my own hotel.
Best scene from Eurotrip. Right? Absolutely. That was pretty good. That was rad. Has anybody been keeping an eye on the giant mountains of money that are being burned in the motorcycle industry now?
Oh, God.
It is to the point of being criminally stupid how many billionaires have decided to just lose shit tons of money on... Thanks, Jovi. How many people have decided to just burn money? It's the wealthy people.
I can watch billionaires lose money all day.
Tanuki's up. Everybody drink.
When you see the Tanuki-san in the corner, you got to drink. That's the new playing at home drinking game. When the little Tanuki shows up, you got to drink. It's a good. I like that game. That's awesome. And we don't have to listen to Tom say "to be fair" anymore.
To be fair,
Tanuki's
No, just replays.
Oh man, yeah. Hit me with one of those. Oh yeah, bring one of those. Ooh.
No touchy.
Stop that. Don't touch it.
Dude.
That's disrespectful.
That's the sound it makes when you hit Oscar's nipples with electricity.
It wouldn't be the first time.
Oh, Jeebus.
Yeah.
Oh, Jose Cuervo, you are a friend of mine.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Margarita
That's
mix.
actually a pretty good margarita. Bottle.
We got ice.
That is an emergency margarita, my
We
friend.
got ice if you want it.
No, I don't need
something
ice.
on NPR, and they were talking about the town of Tequila and Jose Cuervo. And
Been there. I've been there.
Kind of interesting. I didn't
Tequila.
realize there was a town of tequila.
Yeah.
Did you know there's a tequila train?
Ooh, I'm listening.
Oh, and they do sing-alongs. They have live entertainment, and you get to taste all kinds of tequila.
And there's a vomitorium on every car.
I watched a video. One of the guys I watch who loves trains, Downey Live. That's a plug for Downey Live, by the way. The Jose Cuervo train. You go on it, and from 7 o'clock in the morning until like 7 p.m., you just never stop drinking.
Damn.
Jeez.
And they just keep bringing you food and bringing you tequila, and more mariachis show up, and people just sing louder and louder
Jesus,
and louder.
can I retire there? Like
And
on the train?
you make lifetime friends on a train that doesn't go anywhere.
It's like Snowpiercer, but it doesn't suck.
Right.
Or does it?
Nobody's getting their arm frozen and broken off.
Oh, yeah, man.
It's like Snowpiercer with booze.
Hey, if you're going to break that arm off, could I get some in my tequila?
Oh, man. Yeah. With that, a little arm, a little tahini goes a long way.
Right.
So that town is in Guadalajara.
Guadalajara.
It's there you
Tequila.
go.
Tequila.
Dude, they need literally retirement home right there. Just
Yeah.
tequila and mariachi.
I love the idea of a train that just doesn't go anywhere.
Let's just go.
Right.
Every time I go visit Grandma, I'm like, why isn't there like the men's lounge, like a little place outside where the guys can go drink beer and smoke cigarettes and stuff? Like,
At the old age home?
Yeah.
Yeah, there should be.
that's what I want.
That should be standard equipment on all old age homes. Yeah. They should just have a couple of trailers parked out back and just like washed up strippers.
Dude.
Yes.
You know how they had the
Grandma's roommate.
The Claremont Lounge Retirement Community.
Grandma's roommate was just that.
Think
She
about
started
this.
telling me about it. She's like,
No way.
yeah. She's like, I was a stripper. I used to do this, and I was like,
Really?
and I was always
You're like, I don't believe it.
Meanwhile,
Show
she's
it.
now 80 years old.
And-
And I'm
and
like,
she can-
Back in my day, we called them burrow shows.
And she could still do the trick with the ping pong balls.
Dude, you guys just
Love
got
it.
me an idea. So, you know how they had for a while, they'd have old age home where they modeled them like the 50s, so
Yes.
people would feel comfortable.
We have one here in Ohio.
Okay.
It's pretty famous, yeah.
Well, you know what they should do at some of these things, like where it's like the dudes are 80 or 78, 90, whatever. Like put a garage with a half-finished car in it. Because the same amount of work is going to get done as it would at their house.
Yeah.
None.
None.
But they could all stand around, drink beers, smoke cigars, and just...
A burlesque old home? Fuck yeah.
I feel like for not much money, I could have got a gummy.
I'll give you 2 shiny nickels if you give me an old fashioned.
Oh,
Yeah, look at that. Hey, $5, same as downtown.
Wait, with your grandma in the room?
That costs extra.
Hold on, can you get this Werther's original started for me?
That's a Girther's original.
Oh man!
It's gonna be one of those nights.
Oh man! When next time you see Kevin Moore, ask him to tell you the chocolate covered peanut joke, and I'll leave it at that. Most people sitting at this table have heard it, but that's enough said. But so I didn't even know this. Apparently, if you read the news, well, not all the news, but if you read the motorcycle news, you'll know that our government, the government where our taxes go, that place,
Eventually.
that place just gave LiveWire, and it's very difficult to determine what day of the week it is, whether LiveWire is its own entity or if it is Harley-Davidson. They tend to blur that line when it's convenient for them. So apparently we just gave our government, well, me and you, the taxpayers. Oscar pays tax too, so he's there. He's paying tax, but he's not getting any Social Security.
No.
So he has the least return for any of us. Apparently, they just gave $89 million to Harley-Davidson for their electric vehicle program.
So is this again, or is this?
Hold on, it gets better.
Like 5 more on the road.
Yeah, right? Okay, so here's
bargain.
this is where it gets weird. Going back to, and I used to watch this very carefully because I sold Zero electric motorcycles, and the day that Zero launched its SRF program, and I had already been selling electric motorcycles for 10 years, Harley launched its Harley-Davidson LiveWire motorcycle. And so we were there when that happened. We were actually at the dealer training. We were there at the launch of the motorcycle when Harley-Davidson launched their motorcycle at the same time. And the internet stopped working that day because everybody was like, look, news about motorcycles. I did not know this. The SPAC, do you guys know what a SPAC is?
I do not.
So a SPAC is what happens when you're going to do an IPO for your company, but when you don't have all the credentials and the money to do an actual initial public offering. So when you're going to do an IPO and you're like, we have this great idea, we have this company, we're going to now get shareholders for this company. But the company hasn't been formed yet. We just have an idea. It's a fantasy company.
It's like a GoFundMe.
It is a GoFundMe. You're exactly right.
We have the concept of an idea of a company.
And if you can generally have the idea of like a future blank check, basically, right? We have an idea. We're going to come up with something. We would like a blank check to do it with. So a SPAC will be formed, and a SPAC will be a bunch of investors that say, this is an idea we have. Once we have enough money, then we're going to facilitate this idea. So we're doing the cart before the horse. So we literally are going to get a bunch of investors that are going to trust us that we are going to do something really super cool with their money.
Yeah, just because they're nice, though, they don't expect anything in return.
They expect nothing in return. They're only going to keep 74% of it. Okay, right. So here's the way it worked. They did a SPAC for Harley-Davidson LiveWire, got $1.7 billion. That's $1,700 million. Wow. Okay? On spec, basically. On the, hey, we're going to do something awesome. They got $1.7 billion. And do you know what they did with that money? They dumped it all into LiveWire. Now, at this point, Harley-Davidson would like to remind you at that point that at that moment, LiveWire was definitely part of Harley-Davidson.
Oh, yeah.
Because when the money's coming this way...
It's us.
It's us, right? When the money's going that way, no, we sold 49% of it to Kimco, right? That's not us anymore. That's LiveWire. And it was this game of what are you calling yourself today? And as a dealer, we really didn't know from day to day what they were. Now, weirdly... Strangely enough, you guys know that there's been some kerfuffle lately over the CEO of Harley-Davidson. And some people might say he's not really qualified to have the job that he had and everything else. But I'm going to tell you how he got that fucking job. It's called $1.7 billion. That's how he got that job. Whether or not he's qualified to run a tennis shoe company, his last adventure that he did, he is damn sure qualified to get $1.7 billion worth of investments for the company. And that makes you the CEO. Yay. Okay. Now, Jochen Zeitz pulls this shit off. He's going to be this is back in 2021. That makes him the chairman of LiveWire for 2 years following the completion of the deal. And he said that they were going to sell 100,961 electric bikes by 2026. Everybody check your watches. It is 2025.
And a half.
And guess how many bikes they've sold?
7.
14.
Okay. Yay.
Guess
Yay.
how many
right.
I've seen actually in Milwaukee,
Okay.
and I'm not even 5 minutes from the actual Milwaukee Museum.
Museum for Harley-Davidson.
I'm really close. My office is like not even 5 minutes away from it.
Very close to Juneau
How many
Street.
times I've seen a live
Electrics.
one? Yeah.
They will not acknowledge the existence of that bike. If you have one, try getting warranty work at your local Harley dealer. They will deny the existence of it. They have, I think, 1, maybe 2 LiveWire dealerships, and they're like, take your bike to California, take your bike to Florida.
Outside of Milwaukee.
Right. They're not in Milwaukee.
Because I've never seen one.
All right. So, 4 years later, March of 2024, they sold 117 in 2024. And that,
1,000?
right.
And
So-
and 5 of them were to Disney to use in the MCU. Wait, no, those were donated.
Right. And including that motorcycle was in a Marvel movie.
Yeah.
Black Widow rode
yeah.
one.
Oh,
right?
absolutely.
So Black Widow rode a Harley-Davidson
Absolutely.
LiveWire. So with all the power of Disney and Scarlett Johansson's crotch, they couldn't sell more than 117 of those things in 2024.
Pretty powerful.
Okay.
Ewan McGregor couldn't sell them.
No. Yeah, and again,
soon.
after watching that Tierra del Fuego to, it was supposed to be Tierra del Fuego to Seattle, Washington, and they gave up in Los Angeles because they just had too much shit fuckery. Now, here's the trick. Again, after that failure, in July of 2024, their numbers were not 100,000. Their numbers were 600. Okay? Great. Give them more money. Yeah, that's what you do. You fail up super hard. The government is kicking in $89 million. Okay. Here's the numbers. It took me more than a minute to find this because nobody wants to admit to this failure. So in the 6 years that they've been selling motorcycles, Harley-Davidson has sold, and I shits thou not, 2,350 motorcycles, electric motorcycles. Okay. In 2000, and I remember this data when it came out, they claimed to have sold 1,648 bikes in their first year, and all the guys of us that were zero electric dealers were like, no, that number's not right. We know that number's not right. And then they did an audit, and they went, oops, we published that we sold 1,648 bikes in our first year. We actually sold 390.
Oops. Yeah, because they had a recall, and you were like, yeah, the numbers don't add up.
When you have a recall of 100% of the units you sold, and you only do 390 recalls, that tells me how many units you sold.
Yeah,
So it took
that.
us this long for your lie to come home.
Yep.
So when you failed already, remember you said you were going to sell 100,000 of them in 6 years, and you didn't even do the lie of the 1,600. You only sold 390. Oh God! So now I actually broke it down to the fucking numbers because I'm an asshole. Okay, so I'm an asshole, and I actually went and got every fucking one. So in Harley-Davidson's very best year, the best year of bikes that they ever sold, they sold 660 bikes in 2023 because they had just launched the new S2, the Mulholland, the lighter, cheaper, friendlier Harley-Davidson bike that wasn't, and I'm not making this up, guys, the first Harley-Davidson LiveWire was $32,000. Damn. And all the zero dealers went,
Good luck with that shit.
that's awesome. Because ours is $12,000 less and goes faster and has a better range and has more stuff and is made in America.
You know what else is $32,000?
6 of any normal motorcycle.
Or a Panigale, like
Right.
a fucking V4.
Right.
As the special edition.
So then they drop the price $10,000, which if you can drop the price on what you're selling by $10,000, that tells me you were charging $10,000 too much to start with, right?
Yeah.
So they dropped the price $10K and they brought out a cheaper version of it, and they still only sold 660 bikes. Now, they just got, and this is what hurts too, is that year they got a loan. Remember, they're not Harley, but they got a loan from Harley for $100 million. Congratulations, you sold 660 bikes. Here's $100 million. Jesus. And what that did was that cleared Harley-Davidson's books of $100 million worth of profit. The tax guys love that.
Oh, yeah.
Okay? You just made a donation to that other part of your company that's not doing so well, so now you're not going to pay tax on that. Yay.
Marshall Thompson says,
Marshall
I'm
Thompson.
trying to cure cancer. Can I get some of that sweet
I'm-
taxpayer money? I don't
I'm
even
sorry.
need 89
I'm sorry. We
million.
actually cut the funding to NIH, so we don't have any money for you.
And that's right. So for the listeners at home, our friend Marshall Thompson says, look, he's legitimately trying to cure cancer. He could do a lot of money with $89 million. But, my friends, it gets worse.
Oh, no.
When I figured out the money, the $89 million government grant, the $1.7 billion initial financing in the SPAC, and the $100 million loan from Harley-Davidson, based on the current number of units sold, 2,350, that means that every single Harley-Davidson electric motorcycle, a LiveWire or an S2 Mulholland, is worth $808,000. So if you have a Harley-Davidson LiveWire, your motorcycle cost some person an aggregate of $808,510.
Pretty good trade-in amount.
That is fucking great right there. I'm telling you, my friend, you spent $22,000 and you got $808,000 worth of R&D, development, marketing, everything else. Now,
Wonder what they'll be able to sell it for tomorrow.
well, they're going for about
$808
million. No. They're going for about $7,000 each. If
Really?
and nobody will work on them. And they're having minor firmware problems.
Has anybody ever seen one in the wild?
Yeah, I've ridden a bunch of them. Yeah.
Yeah,
But at an event or just
I've-
down
I-
there?
Yeah, I mean, like,
Actually, recently,
I'm saying
when we
like
were in
just on the
Anaheim-
road. Like,
Yeah,
like I'm riding down the road in the park and
yeah.
there's a
one of my
LiveWire.
customers in town has one.
When I was in
Okay.
Anaheim 2 weeks ago, I saw one in
and
traffic.
they're on the west.
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
they're on the west
I've not seen one.
Well,
I've never seen one.
Here's what you can know. What did we say? There sure are a lot of Chinese people in this college.
Yeah. Yeah.
We say
And they said, well, if there's 35 Chinese people in your college,
There's 1.8 billion Chinese people, so it's not that many.
That's not that many Chinese
Yeah.
people in your college.
Yeah.
So if there's only 2,350 LiveWire motorcycles on the road, and we know that probably not a lot of those are in Cleveland, Ohio. Like I said, I know the only guy in the Cleveland area who actually owns one.
Wasn't he on the DGR
they-
the 1 year or whatever?
They, they brought it over to the shop.
Yeah, they brought it over to the shop,
Yeah, I
and
remember
I've done
seeing
some.
it.
I've done
Did he
some
have the
stuff for
rumble
him.
seat?
I think that's the only one.
Don't-
I touch it.
No touchy.
It's okay. It's okay. But now here's
Show us
the
on the microphone where you touched it.
now, guys. I want to let you know though that all that money is finally coming home. I want you guys to feel good about this conversation.
When you say home, what are you talking about?
to the consumers, right? To remember that $1.7 billion, that $100 million loan.
I'm a consumer.
That $89 million government from you guys. That's all from you taxpayers. That's taxpayers, right? So it's all finally coming home. I'm very happy to announce, as a shareholder, I just had my shareholder meeting. I'm very happy to announce that in the first quarter of 2025, somehow, or I don't know how it did it, but Harley-Davidson LiveWire sold 1,970 bikes in the first quarter. And I'm
what?
like, what the
which
fuck? What the, like, last quarter, you guys sold 34 bikes. So how did you go from 34 bikes to 1,970 bikes?
Accounting.
And then I looked at my PDF files for my shareholder meeting. And in my PDF file for my shareholder meeting, there was a microscopic 1-point font that said asterisk.
Yeah.
And it scrolls to the bottom, and it said they weren't counting the motorcycle sales. They were counting
T-shirts?
Jackets.
Change our bullets.
all two-wheel electric vehicle sales. They count in there the children's Stay Sick electric balance bikes. These are for your 3-year-old. Wow. And they're $600 a pop.
Just Strider bike.
The Strider bike.
With a drill battery.
It's a Strider bike with a drill battery and a Harley-Davidson sticker is what it is. It's a $300 Strider bike with an electric battery and a Harley-Davidson sticker for $600. So it turns out they didn't actually sell 1,970 of them. I couldn't believe it. So I did actually, since I'm a shareholder and I'm an asshole, I did want to check out and see how many they actually did sell in the first quarter, because since they want my input.
Johnny Mac hammer down.
Yeah, Johnny Mac camera's down. Since they want my input, I did check. And would you guys like to guess? I mean, maybe you know. So would you like to guess how many bikes they sold in the first quarter of 2025 after getting freshly getting an $89 million taxpayer check? Anyone?
2.
37.
33. 33. Wow. Now, I want to remind you all.
There's 5 on order.
I want to remind you all that ClevelandMoto sold more bikes than that in the first quarter. Okay? Wow. So a shitty little dealership in Cleveland sold more bikes in the first quarter than all of Harley-Davidson in their electric vehicles division sold in their first quarter, and they just got an $89 million grant. So I think that based on that performance, I need an $80 million grant.
Well,
yeah.
It would be interesting to see what their trading value of a LiveWire is. How much do they think it would be?
I don't know what they think it's worth, but I can promise you right now that our local Harley-Davidson dealership has one listed, and they have that bike listed with 1,200 miles on it. It's 3 years old, and they have it listed for $7,500.
Wow.
And I can also tell you the owner of that Harley-Davidson dealership, which by the dealer guidelines of Harley-Davidson was required to put a level 2 charger on the wall of his building to support that LiveWire project, and he very much did not want to do that. This LiveWire project cost a lot of dealers a lot of money to have the infrastructure in their place and the training in their place to service these, and a lot of American Harley-Davidson dealers flat out refused to do it and said, you know what, you can come and pick up all these bikes. I'm not going to do it.
So they probably traded in for like $5,000?
Oh, way less than that.
Wow.
Yeah, I know the dealer in question. Yeah, they traded in for a lot less than that. And they probably got it. They probably put 1,300 miles on it, and now they want a bike that goes boom, 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 boom.
Yeah.
It is insane.
But it's kind of like that with most electric vehicles. Like you see all the people with the Teslas, they're trying to trade them in, and like they have this like S model, and they're like, "What do they offer you? $18,000."
Well, but that's a $30,000 bike going down to like less than $5,000.
The S model is a $65,000 car down to $18,000.
Right.
The point is, in less than 3 years, your value has dropped by over 80 to 85%, and you can't buy a car that does that, right? So
your battery's depleted.
Yes, your wallet
right.
and your wallet is depleted. And how about are you financing that cocksucker?
Oh, most likely.
Right? What are you paying for insurance? You've been paying full coverage on that thing
And
because you're financing it.
Most things, they're usually 5 years now, right? So like if it's 3 years,
Harley does 80 months.
Oh,
So yeah. Do the math on that one.
You know, it goes back to like I remember the wheelie days when I was doing the Rider for Life thing. Like kids would watch all of us, and they'd go out and buy a brand new bike on a credit card or on a loan payment, and then wreck it 4 seconds later, and then they were paying their $800 a month with their crash.
I used to work at Krieger
forever.
Oh yeah,
and people that didn't have good credit, we would lease them.
oh
So if you had a 400 credit score,
Ouch.
you would just sign a lease. And you ever heard the phrase "due on signing"?
oh yeah.
It's only a $200 a month lease with $4,000 due on signing. And that's how we were selling Hayabusas. You know, we were selling Hayabusas with $4K, $5K due on signing for a 2-year-old pre-owned Hayabusa that may or may not have been already crashed once and gone through our service department and been uncrashed, right?
I'd like to see their insurance premiums too.
Oh my God.
Oh no.
So, and a lot of insurance companies are really scared of doing electric vehicles, so they're not cool with electric vehicles yet. They don't know how it works. Oh my God, the Johnny Mech, the brownie cam.
You want some brown in you?
Oh my
Moist.
God.
Yeah.
That is delicious. Oh my God.
Got some brown for
That
you?
is definitely, that right there, that's a short.
Yeah.
That's a perfect short right there. Mark that one. Stick a pin in that fucker. Yeah. Very, very cool.
He likes the brown.
So now I got a question. I'm curious. I'm curious what happened in the driveway today because Sean bought a brand new fancy Honda Fast and the Furious car.
Hell yeah.
But today he showed up in a also orange Fast and the Furious car.
Yeah.
What's going on, Sean?
Oh, well, okay. So the Fiesta, it's a Fiesta ST. It's my 2018.
Yeah.
I've had that. That's,
I know.
I bought it new, but
Yeah.
I bought the Civic to replace it, and it is now for sale.
Nice.
Yes, indeed.
And it's just it looks like a brand new car. It's
good.
super clean. Oh yeah, Marshall Thompson says you usually have to pay extra for this. Yeah. To get the FPV view of John sticking brown things in his mouth.
Now, does your orange
The-
car
the
have
first-
a NOS?
The first one's free.
No. It is completely unfucked.
It's NOS free.
It
NOS
is
free,
It is factory.
I'm not
fresh.
sure anybody
You
believes
did
that
take
statement,
off the
Sean.
graphic on the side.
Yeah,
big,
I know.
Hey, you got ass pilsner. Nice.
Nice.
Dan's got some ass pilsner.
Exciting.
Well, so if anybody's looking for what is it, a Fiesta?
Oh yeah, it's a 2018 Ford Fiesta ST, and it has everything that you could stuff in it. It was the utmost model, and it's orange.
Yes,
trust me, if I could
still unfucked.
trust me, if I could stuff it in, I stuffed it in.
It's the Fiesta ST
Yeah.
up the butt
It
edition.
looks very fancy. It looks very fancy. It has fancy seats.
Yes, it has the Recaro seats that were.
That ST
in there.
is
So, like,
for ST is for sexually transmitted.
And I've been in that
no.
car, and it is quick. It is a quick car.
yeah,
Like,
it is a fast little shoe. Is what
It is a
is.
fast shit.
Nice.
Yeah. And so you're trying to sell that, right?
Yes, indeed.
So let's tell the podcast listeners at home, because that's like that car is in, as best as I can tell, perfect condition.
Well, thank you. Yeah, it is. Everything on it is A-OK.
Yep.
I mean, I maintain it very regularly.
Oh yeah.
It's got a new set of General G-Max tires on it, so all season sport action. And for the Fiesta STs, you had to have they did 2 special brake pads. So if you bought the car with summer tires, you got these like hardcore brake pads that were really, really bitey and also dusty as fuck.
Right.
But because I have the performance all season tires on it, it's got a slightly gentler pad that is no less like good. It's just great.
It's a little bit less absorbent.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cam Block edition.
Yes.
They're off of Stella.
But it's
For light days.
it was my daily. It's got 66,000 miles on
Right.
it for a 2018.
Oh, that's perfect.
So obviously riding took a lot of the mileage off of
Yeah,
that
yeah,
day to day because I
yeah.
ride my bike a lot.
your
But
bike-
the Vespa actually, my Vespa just hit 7,000 miles.
Dang.
That is putting some miles on a Vespa right quick in a hurry.
On my 2023.
Dan
Super
says
Sport.
challenge accepted.
Yeah.
So, and then we're gonna get to that, because what did you show up on today, Dan?
2025 Vespa 310.
What? Wait.
Yeah, wait. Well, you can't be riding a GTS 310. Those haven't even arrived at dealers yet.
But wait.
I know someone.
There's more. Yeah.
Wow, that's incredible. I still have customers waiting on those. I can't imagine how you managed to get one so fucking early.
How'd you do it?
How'd you do it? That's incredible. Yeah, right. So, yeah, suck on that. If
I think he did.
Yeah.
I think he did. That's how he got it.
look, Dan came in.
Sucked on something.
Dan came in and we tried aggressively to sell him other bikes, and he forced me to sell him the new hotness.
I get it.
Yeah. And so how you like it?
It's awesome. I mean, almost, I raced a Harley a couple days ago. Not going to say I beat him, but he couldn't lose me.
Nice.
They are quick bikes. There's absolutely no doubt about their quick bikes. They've changed that motor around a little bit, so it beats Euro 6 standards for noise and emissions and everything else, and they dropped the RPMs. And so they essentially built a stroker motor. Nice. So they built a stroker motor out of the thing. So it has a little more grunt on the bottom end.
I'm not able to meet Euro 6 emission standards.
For sound or emissions. No. Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Neither.
For noise or emissions. I cannot pass. But that's cool. And it is in the fucking fetching shade of Verde Amabile, which is what we used to call relaxed green, Verde Relax. And so that's cool. That's
Cool looking.
super cool looking. And what are you still waiting on the box, right?
Right.
Yeah, we were still waiting on a box for it. But other than that, yeah, rocking it, man. That's fucking cool.
Nice.
That's great. I showed up
She's
on
pretty.
I showed up on a Road King. So
Which is also pretty.
Oh, no,
Not
wait.
just a Road King. Like the most pristine, fucking unfucked with,
It is
no
pristine.
eagles anywhere. I
bells.
took my finger and pushed it to the middle of the motor to see if there was dirty, and I dirtied the motor.
Yeah, I was like, don't touch it, fucking sleepy.
There was a guy that showed up earlier today, and he saw it outside, and
Oh,
he's
yeah.
like, "Do y'all detail bikes?"
Yeah.
And I said, "No."
no, that came pre-detailed.
Can you ask the guy what he
I
did
used
to
to.
make the bike look like that? Because like the motor has no dirt on it.
You should see his Audi. It is equally clean.
Like this dude has tools.
Well, he's a
Just
truck
for-
driver and he's got time.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, he does. That bike is pristinely clean.
He might have stock in that S1000.
That is a
spray stuff.
15 S100. Yeah, that
Yeah.
is a 15-year-old bike with 16,000 miles on it that has been hand-lovingly diaper cleaned for 15 years.
So if
right?
you're in the market for a fat boy,
No, it's a Road King.
oh, Road King.
Yeah, Fat Boys are Softails. No,
I
this
don't
is
know.
This is a full-grown
It's
adult
the
Harley
it's the
Davidson.
FLART model. That's all I know.
No, it's the FL. It's the FLHC.
Gotcha.
So it's a Road King.
But if you're
classic.
in the market for one of these, Phil's got like the most pristine one.
Yeah, it is
But
nice.
not only that, but like it's the most not like it's a Harley. It looks
Yeah.
like a Harley.
Yeah.
But it feels so. I don't know. It just clean. It looks like
It's
not
perfect.
clean in the sense of like not dirty.
No.
Clean. Like it's like done perfectly.
There's no extra.
Yeah.
No.
Right. There's no like
And
extra.
the extra he did is
Right.
tasteful.
Yeah.
There's no fucking eagles or skulls sticking out, anything like.
No gremlins, no nothing.
Yeah.
It doesn't come with a do-rag.
I will say that it is the the silver metallic. It's beautiful, but everything on the bike that can be chrome is chrome. But he didn't go extra. So like he didn't chrome things that shouldn't be chrome.
And he used
So,
real shit. None
he
of
did.
it's like the Karaoke fucking.
No, it's all Harley catalog.
There's no super suck on it.
No, there's right. It is a really nice bike, and he just had brand new tires put on it, and I just put a brand new battery in it and did a 3-hole oil change on it, so it's ready to rock and roll. And I rode it home the other day, and I was like, please don't let it rain, because I don't want to clean it.
Oh no.
My Road King has never been cleaned, so my bike's a 2014. And it has never been fully washed.
Which is kind of cool because once you build the base grime up, it kind of keeps everything.
Yeah, it does. It does. And then you can just look for the wet spots.
For
where your leakages are.
There you go.
Right.
Yeah.
So some people's like, well, if you keep your bike super clean, you'll see where the leaks are. I argue that if you keep your bike super dirty, you'll see where the wet spots are.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a better way to approach the same problem.
He's got a good question. How can you drive down any road and not get dust, dirt, or pollen on your bike? We don't know, but that guy did it.
No shit.
It seems to-
Well, he
it
did the
seems to
ceramic coating on everything.
Yeah, must
Oh,
have.
I
Yeah,
bet
because it
you.
repels everything.
It does.
Yeah.
It repels fingerprints.
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy.
I've
It
never
is super
seen
clean.
anything like that.
No, I just took the BMW out the other day, and it was dead clean when it left the shop, and I got home, and it's just yellow now. Like, the whole bike is yellow.
But I've never seen an engine case
Yeah.
in between, especially
Yeah,
on a
yeah.
V-twin,
But-
in between the
Right.
V,
Right.
where, like, most things go to die,
Yeah, it's-
and you could white glove
Squeak it
it and
clean.
get nothing on
Nothing
your
out of
finger.
it. Yeah, there's
It's
nothing.
insane.
There's nothing. And he did the full stage 2 to it, and he also installed the Reinhardt True Duals, which is funny. The Reinhardt True Duals are sort of like the, fuck you, Harley. I don't want crossover pipes. I don't want emissions. I'm going to go backwards in time.
Yeah.
I'm going to do 2 exhausts, one for the front cylinder, one for the back cylinder, and ne'er the twain shall meet. They are literally 2 separate systems.
Now, do you have to completely change the tune of the ECU?
Yes,
for
you do.
that? Okay.
And this bike has been mapped, and it's nice. It drives really nice. It pulls really good. I mean, I had it about 110 miles an hour on the freeway coming in this morning, which, keep in mind, the Classic Edition has spokes and tubes. Okay? So you should just be aware of that. Spokes and tubes are, there's an inner tube inside of your tire. And there's been many studies done that shows how much heat is between your inner tube and your tire at certain speeds. And it only takes a certain amount of heat to melt rubber. And if you exceed that amount of heat, then your inner tube might become a liquid device holding all the important air. And so it's not a great idea to go super fast on inner tube tires. I guess
This is also like Sleepy dropped all his tires off today.
Yeah.
And the first thing I asked him is, well, do you have new tubes?
I did. I brought
He did. He did.
Oh, you had wire wheels?
Yeah, for my
For the
African twin.
African twin.
Oh, it's not a tubeless.
No.
Oh, no.
Shame on
No,
them.
no.
But so I brought new tubes, but the old ones are still good. So we have 2 chances to get each one right.
Because I
So
am,
you know what we're going to do is we're going to start with the new tubes.
No, of course.
And if
Yeah,
Tom pinches them, I'll buy more tubes.
Okay.
Yes.
Because as long as you know me, I'm not going to let you
yeah,
recycle
well,
a
it's
tube.
7,000 miles on those tubes. So
Yeah.
I think it's time to
Yeah.
Do
move.
you need
Yeah.
me to come do it?
That's yes.
I don't know. Last time you broke the machine.
Shots
did it.
fired.
Was it the blue machine or the red machine?
was the blue
It was the
machine.
blue machine.
There you go. Got Tom in the background. Shame, 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 shame.
To be fair, drink.
That was a shot across the bow right there.
I did have it fixed. I did have it fixed in like 24 hours.
I get it.
Woof.
We're going to have to
I
repossess
feel
our
like
old...
I got set up for that.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
We might have to repossess our old...
Breaking news.
We might have to repossess our old tire machine from Skidmark, because from the day I gave it to them, they haven't ever figured it out.
Was that the old Red Harbor Freight one?
No, it's not a
Oh, the
Harbor.
Nomar
it's
one.
the Nomar.
No, it's red. It's a red Kokosang or whatever. It's
whatever.
You know what? I should have just said, when you said Harbor Freight, I should have said yes.
Yeah.
Because yeah, it is. It's China, right? It is red as the communist flag.
Is that the one that has my blood, sweat, and tears
It does
all
have your
over
blood,
it?
sweat, and tears all over. And again, that's a tire machine that you used perfectly for years, and I used perfectly at Mentor for years, and then it left our control, oh, this thing's fucked up. It'll never do anything. It's totally the worst tire machine ever. And I'm like, fucking
worked fine.
Well, to call it a tire machine is maybe a misnomer.
But
it's more of a it's a tire clamp.
It's a tool.
It has the strong arm. It's got the strong arm. It's got a rotating deck. It honestly has served me well. Emmy and I changed hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of tires on that thing. John changed hundreds of tires on that thing.
So I don't think that's the one I was using. I
red
was
one?
using the Harbor Freight one that didn't have nothing.
Oh, no. The Harbor Freight one was a mechanical one. Yeah. We had okay, that was it. So we bought you guys at the Lakewood store. We bought you a new blue machine.
I didn't get the good one.
Right. No, you didn't get the good one.
No, sir, I did not.
We upgraded. Right. We upgraded for Tom. We bought a really nice machine. Like we bought a legit, K&L, like a good machine. And then for years and years, that red machine that they have at Skidmark now, that was our main go-to. That was our main machine. And then we bought another one for the Lakewood store. But when you were there, we just had the Harbor Freight. Yeah. We had a Nomar. We basically had a Nomar with a Harbor Freight.
We had a Harbor Freight with a Nomar bar.
That's exactly right. Yeah, we had a Nomar adapter. We had Nomar kit for a Harbor Freight machine.
The Nomar paste was revolutionary.
Oh, the Nomar paste.
Oh, absolutely.
You know
they
what?
Changed it now. They don't have the same formula anymore.
They don't?
I have a full can of it.
Well, that's some bullshit right there because the Nomar paste...
Yep. It was actually a German brand that was rebranded by Nomar.
Really?
Like, I forget what the name of the brand is. Because Of
Scheitenhausen?
It was from Worth. We will make you fasteners. We'll make you lubricants. Anything that you want, we'll make it out of... Well, we're not allowed to talk about what we make it out of.
The best part was bringing it out the other day, bringing a tire out the other day, and Renee's like, what's all over this?
Yeah. Tom gets a little happy with the lube sometime. And so Renee's like, what's this white stuff all over the tire? And I was like,
don't ask.
Oops, I forgot to wipe that off with
I'm
my
just
happy
gonna put
sack.
my money in I'm just going to put my money in the HR jar right now.
Yes.
This tire's all white and slimy. Yeah, right.
Yeah,
sure.
well,
Tom, you got to use your happy sock when you're done.
they leave me in the back of the shop by myself for hours at a time.
Yeah.
Shit happens.
Self-abuse.
Yeah, I promise you, no matter what type of tire machine you're using, I don't care what fucking interesting system they use, good lube is magical.
Dude,
and
all Tom's pockets are cut out on his
That's for all
onesie.
things in life.
Mostly, with that lube, I was mostly just changing tires with my bare hands.
Yes. And for real,
Yeah, using lube with your bare hands is the way to go.
you put your belly up against it and push this side.
Oh,
of
the third appendage.
the third.
is-
You don't need a strong arm
third hand, yeah.
when you have a good belly.
Finally,
I
someone
have an
understands.
excellent one.
Do you want to move over to Chris had to bail out. Do you want to move over there?
Meanwhile, Sean's over here doing the Dutch rudder. I'm the downhill skier. I'm the downhill skier.
I'll provide lube for
I like the
everybody.
Dutch rudder. Give me the Dutch rudder.
Did Smith leave?
Chris, he had to bow out.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't even know.
He heard this wasn't a PG-13 podcast.
Well, he
anymore.
added so much tonight.
Well, he was just.
He said apologies. Apologies. He
took the keys to Sean's car and off he fucked.
Yeah.
Irish goodbye.
He's gonna take a test ride.
Irish goodbye.
The last time Chris took a test ride at our shop, Renee and James had to work late because Chris had brought somebody in from somewhere. It's like, oh, we're gonna go Phil's shop. We're gonna test ride Moto Guzzi. He's gonna be great, whatever. And I was like, yeah, sure, I don't care. Fucking throw him the keys. And James and Renee called me at like 7:30. They closed at 7.
Yeah.
Hey, Phil. Yeah. Where are you at? I'm on my way back. I was working 2 shops, so I was like working the Menor shop, and I was on my way. So I'm on my way back. Well, Chris came and picked up a bike with a buddy of his to do a demo rides, and I said, okay, what's wrong? They're not back yet. Well, when the fuck did they leave? I don't know, lunchtime. Oh. And I was like, no way. And she goes, well, it wasn't lunchtime, but it was a long time ago, and we closed the shop at 7. But like we're hanging around because there's 2 bikes out there in the world. And we called. Nobody's picking up his phone or anything else. So I called him. Chris doesn't pick up his phone when he's riding, obviously. And so by the time I had got back to the shop at 8 p.m., Chris and his buddy are pulling in the parking lot. And they're like, oh, that was a great test ride. And I was like, yeah, 136 miles. That was a fantastic fucking test ride. Let me explain who owns these bikes.
Yeah.
Let me explain that these aren't free.
Well, that's what the dude when we were out at the AIM show.
And it wasn't Chris's fault. Chris didn't know.
No, I know, but do you remember we were talking to the dude from Janus?
Yeah.
What the hell is his name? I love that dude. The guy who builds all
Eric,
the bikes.
the builder.
Yeah. Well, him.
Yeah.
And he was like, yeah, Smith was like, took a couple of our bikes out, and they same thing, like gone for like 5 hours, like 6 hours, just tooling around.
But like We have to, because our shop doesn't do a lot of test rides, to make it perfectly clear, just so you understand.
Not anymore.
And that wasn't why.
You can thank Chris for that.
Right. Yeah. That wasn't why we don't do
That's
that.
crazy because it seems like the insurance companies would encourage you.
I know, really. Yeah. My insurance company just loves it when people that don't own the vehicles crash them.
Yeah.
Oh, so that guy worked at your shop then, right? No. But you gave him a $26,000 motorcycle. Yes. And he crashed it. Yes. And where is he? The hospital. And so who's your next insurance company going to be? Because we just canceled you.
Yeah. Oh.
And that's a hard phone call to make. You know, that's a hard place to be. So that's why we don't do it anymore. And I understand that big companies will let you come in and test fuck their shit. That's fine. And they're going to hope that you crash it. So, because you're going to, crashing into a sale is probably the best way to sell a bike. Because you don't have to, when a guy crashes your shit, there's no negotiations after that. You know, when you say, sure, take the Ultra out for a test ride, by all means. Set your walker in the corner, take the Ultra out for a test ride, right? Because you know that he's probably going to ding it. And then when he dings it, well, of course he's buying that bike, and you're going to get to pay for the repair. And he's going to say, can you please fix it before my wife finds out?
Unless you're a grumpy sewer guy and you let a guy ride his BMW down the thing. Remember when he was selling the bike?
No, man.
I don't remember that.
And he crashed it?
I don't think I was there for that.
Oh, the test ride of the BMW?
Oh,
Yeah.
that guy. Yeah. Oh, that. Yeah. Okay. I was thinking,
The guy who
He was
fucking...
like, oh, I've got, he had all the, I've been riding for years and I have all the gear and he like literally made it 100 feet and
I
dumped
remember
it.
that.
Like, we're sitting there, we're standing there, and the dude's walking back. We're like, did the bike
Where's the
stall?
fuck-
You know what? I decided this bike isn't for me. Goodbye.
Right.
Yeah, go pick it up
It's
in a
laying
couple
in the
blocks.
fucking parking lot.
Peace out. Yeah.
Can you move
Peace
that
out.
thing so I can get the fuck out of
Right,
here?
right, yeah. If you don't mind, it's blocking my car.
Yeah.
Fuck that, man. That is vicious. Yeah, that's a thing. That's a thing we don't do anymore. Hey, news event. Beep, 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 beep. Breaking news.
Tanuki News.
To all your young lords and ladies and all the ships at sea, we have a news event, and Vermont has banned loud pipes. Vermont, the entire state. Is it a state or is it a city? It's pretty small.
Well, Vermont's kind of small.
Yeah, it's the same population as like Western Chicago. So they legitimately banned loud pipes. Senate Bill 66, which we will now call Order 66.
Yeah.
We don't care how small your pipes are. We're coming after them. That's what it is. So they passed Senate Bill 66, which cracks down on vehicle noise in general and motorcycle noise in particular. It eliminates existing legislation and replaces it with more restrictive laws.
How many decibels?
Well, that's where it gets a little weird. Because I would like to read for you the ordinance. Now, here in Ohio, we have an ordinance about loud pipes. There is a decibel number associated with it, and as a former police officer, I was trained on determining this decibel number. And in fact, at one point, I was issued an SPL meter by the fine folks at Progressive Insurance, who issued me two things. They issued me a SPL meter and a sheet of paper telling me how to use it, and a window tint darkness meter. And a sheet of paper telling me how to use that. And we basically called it, it's the Cops Are Assholes kit. Right? You got it for the second knuckle there, Johnny. Pretty impressed.
That's the finger he lost on that tire changing machine.
Is it? I can do 4.5 tires a day. That's it. Right. I can do 5. No, 4.5 tires a day. So we used to have this kit in the police cars, and it was a window tint device that would measure window tint. And we had an SPL meter. Yeah. And then we had to put the SPL meter on the ground. And then, we would have a little tripod on it. And we put it a certain number of feet away from the exhaust of the motorcycle at a certain distance from the back of the motorcycle. And we would say to the victim, operator,
Rev it up.
Rev it. Mm-hmm. And they would rev it. And if it went above 92 decibels in the state of Ohio...
That's it. That's all.
That's all she's doing.
Give it the beans, right? Ooh. Yeah, give it the beans. And I'm not going to touch your motorcycle, but this was the kit that they gave us. And it was in a fun little Progressive Insurance little baggy thing, like a little pack, a little road pack. It was great. And so it told us how many feet to set the little SPL meter. And that if we saw the SPL meter go above 92 decibels, then we could issue a citation on the spot for excessive noise.
Did it have a flow picture on it?
It did.
Yeah, okay, cool.
No, actually, it was flow.
Flow, yeah.
It was a little miniature Flow. Yeah. Right. And then she had really big ears. There's that ASM or AMSR ears.
You know, it's got to say something about an insurance company that intentionally hands out these things to cops.
They paid for our dash cams.
I was going to say specifically to fuck over their customers.
All of our dash cams, because this was when dinosaurs ruled the earth.
Right.
So our dash cams were like VHS-C machines. Like, I couldn't look right to come out of an intersection because there was a fucking video camera in my line of sight on the dashboard. But they literally said progressive right on the side of our dash cams. So in our our PR24, our PR24 batons, our beaten sticks, they were sponsored by State Farm,
right? Evil,
right?
It's fucked
right.
up.
Yeah. Our handcuffs were sponsored by Haggerty Insurance or whatever.
United Healthcare.
Yeah, United Healthcare.
We'll hit them with.
Could you be nice enough to bleed into the cup, please? Right. I really need this sample.
We have to. Yeah, I was gonna say we have to test you for any drugs.
I really need this sample. Okay, so here's the law. I'm gonna read it because it's awesome. And if Sleepy wants to pull this up, we can pull this up as well. So this says, an individual shall not operate on a highway a motor vehicle equipped with a muffler lacking interior baffle plates or other effective muffling devices, a gutted muffler, a muffler cutout, or a straight pipe exhaust. Subsection 2. An individual shall not operate on a highway a motorcycle manufactured after December 31st, 1985 that is not labeled in compliance with 40 CFR subset 205.158 and equipped with a muffler that meets the requirements of 40 CFR subset 205.169. Now, if you want to know, if you look at the exhaust system on your motorcycle, even going back to a 70s Honda, you will see where it says this exhaust system DOT approved not to exceed 82 decibels. And that is engraved in every fucking muffler that is an OEM standard muffler that you own, right, on your motorcycle. So if that label's not there, this is telling you if that label is not there, you are in violation. It also specifically says muffler cutouts. It also says unpacked mufflers. It also says uncorked mufflers. It also says removed decibel killers, right? It says removing lacking interior baffle plates. But you'll notice nowhere does it say decibels.
Yeah.
So what they've done is they've completely said how much noise it makes isn't important to us. Its architecture is important to us.
With it, that's the only,
its architecture is important to us. Its actual noise is not important to us. What's coming out of the back of the motorcycle to our ear holes is not important. It is the structure of the item that is important.
Bullshit. Are you going to turn over the bike to see if it's cut out? Like a bunch of Best Buys do have like the muffler already gutted out because they're so fucking old that you're not going to be like.
Oh, absolutely. Or
that's
we have
before 85, probably.
Yeah, those are pre-85 unless you
that
have
is
like
true.
Like a Stella. Now a Stella, on the other hand, a Stella or PX150E or PX150 from 05 is going to be different.
And the reason that I think that this is particularly fucking evil is that this is not for people that are registered motorcycle owners in Vermont. This is for any swinging dick that happens to be in Vermont.
Right.
So if you've got your Harley straight shot pipes on your bike or whatever, right? Any sort of modified, reduced packing, no baffles, go ahead.
My Honda Monkey wouldn't pass.
That's exactly right.
My Honda Monkey has a Yoshimura exhaust, and it's a little obnoxious. I mean, I wouldn't say it's obnoxious. It's louder than the sewing machine Honda standard issue.
But nobody has to prove anymore how loud it is.
But would that
and it would be illegal.
Yeah.
But would that be just a probable cause to stop you and then fuck you over with something else?
Good, excellent point. So you've just created probable cause. Second, you've just got the ultimate easy free pass ticket.
Well, yeah. If you've ever watched the DDE guys, what is it, Daily Driven Exotics on YouTube? I mean, they're total fucking chachas.
Right.
But besides that, like they'll pull them over for driving a Lamborghini. Like that's the crime, and then they go through like you're saying, it's just the reason to start fucking with them.
Absolutely.
The thing I saw that was a little peculiar is that it specifically states only highway.
Oh. Exactly. Right. And this,
that's a good one.
This also there's literally a subset in here that says that they are noting the procedures for a citizen to report a suspected violator, so that if you think your neighbor's pipes are too loud, now we have a way to say that it is an action of this law that we are enlisting the help of citizens to tattle on each other.
Snitches get stitches, man. This is bullshit. This is fucked up. How the
I mean, I can totally see this as a law entitled or called.
Right.
We are tired of your bullshit. Fucking
Yes.
stop it.
Yeah.
Because people have taken this to the extreme. Like any dickbag with a fucking Mustang GT needs to be beaten with a rubber hammer.
And we work, and where our shop is located is in
between two meth clubs.
Our neighborhood, our particular street,
all fucking day.
our particular street is where shitty, fucked up V6 Mustangs
Oh yeah.
go to, like, we're going to make, like, if I put enough straight pipe on this Mustang, that girl's clothes are going to fall off.
See, but the motorcycles are worse. They're the Vance and Hines with the baffles pulled, so it's literally a megaphone straight pipe.
So yesterday, I'm taking a Kimco 250 luxury liner, right? This thing is 9 feet long. This is a fucking boat,
You have to
right?
call ahead to more.
It is.
Yeah.
It is not what anybody would consider to be a fast bike.
Yeah.
But it's a 250, and it's fuel injected, and it's stabby, like it's all pointy. It's all like angular. It's a transforming robot, right? It looks like all the things that the Asian bikes like. And going past my shop is what I like to call Fuckwit 1 and Dickbag 2 on two Chinese fucking fling poos that have their exhausts cut off and have installed what looks like a tennis ball can at the end of the header. And so these two things go by at Mach 7 miles per hour, right? Like they're going by at all of the noise and none of the fury, right? They are just an exercise in masturbation. And these guys are both, like their shoes don't match. Like these guys are just fucked, right?
It's just any of those bikes with a CVT. If you make them loud, they just sound like a generator that the exhaust. They don't sound good at all.
So these two fuckwits are going past my shop left to right, and I'm like, oh, okay, well, I got to take this thing out for a test ride anyway because Tom serviced it, and I got to go out and flog it now to make sure Tom didn't fuck my customer over. He never
Again.
He never does that. Tom is like fucking zero boomerangs. Don't let anybody fool you. Tom's an excellent mechanic. But so I jump on the bike, I stab the go button, activate the fuel injection, and go plaid, like off the curb.
Oh yeah.
So I like light it off the curb, the whole deal, and I pass these two guys with extreme violence past the fire station, and I make sure to give myself at least an inch between my mirror and theirs because I want to have the desired effect of silent thrust. Again, from not a fast scooter, but theirs are worse. So I go past both of them and suck the blue right off their bikes. And I just go right by him. And then I get to the 150th and I stop. And the guy comes up, they pull up next to me. And I mean, like, come on. They're like, man, that's a fast scooter, man. That's a super fast scooter. How many cc's is that? And I'm like, 125. And the guy's like, oh, man, that's fast as hell. What'd you do to it? I was like, I just left it the fuck alone. And the guy's like, really? That's a 125? I'm like, it says 250 on the side, big as Stuttgart.
And if he could read, he'd be angry.
Right. And I'm like, it's a one. I said, dude, I did what you guys should have done. I just left it the fuck alone. I'm like, why did you cut your exhaust off your bike? Because it sounds cooler. No, it doesn't. No. You sound homeless. You sound homeless. Like, you are what failure sounds like in my brain.
Yeah.
And he goes, no, man, they're cooler. And I'm like, no, they're not. Everybody hates you. And I'm like, just in case you just needed to know where you were in the universe right now, you just went past a shop that sells scooters. We unnaturally like scooters. Yeah. And we hate you.
Hey, you just get a perfect transition to this.
Yeah. Breaking news. Breaking news. Super chat for visibility. Oh, yeah, here we go. This is a big deal. We got to talk about this. Yes, we got to talk about this. Very much. Super chat for visibility. Capital City Scooters. Our friends Caitlin and Chris and Eric down in Columbus, Ohio, on Summit. They have recently gotten broken into. Some fucking cockknockers broke into our friend's scooter shop. They like fucking blasted through the back roll-up door. They are having a fundraiser on the 18th. So if you are not in Cleveland, Ohio, participating in the Skidmark Garage or the DGR, right, you best make sure your ass is on Summit Street at Capital City Scooters in Columbus. going to their fundraiser for tacos and all kinds of cool shit happening. And there's also a GoFundMe for this shit. Wow. If you ever wanted to say to some people that are straight up bootstrapped, started their own fucking scooter shop, doing things right, all the love in the world goes out to Capital City Scooters. We generally love these guys on a somewhat naughty level.
Well, they were at our retreat to Cancun
They
last
went
year.
to our training meeting.
Our
sorry. Marketing and training intensive. Come on, Tom.
Well.
There are accountants out there.
Yes.
We want you to understand that they got fucking robbed. And I'm going to tell you a little something about insurance. There ain't no insurance in the world that will cover how much shit, how fucked up your business is going to be when some fuck knuckles break through the door and steal all your good shit. And they steal your tools and steal Chris's tools and go through the place and just generally have a rummage. We've been broken into a shop not one time, but 2 times. And one, the feeling in your heart when your shop gets broken into. When you come in, you find all the glass busted out of the windows and you see your shit's fucked with and the bikes are gone or whatever. I've been there, man. 2 times this happened to me. And I will never, ever tell you how bad that feels. It's fucking awful. So you do need to be aware. Capital City Scooters, look it up because there is a GoFundMe out there for it too. So toss them $1, man. Don't give us $10 of the beer money. Give them $20 to fucking get their shit back together again. Because fixing shit, it takes no time at all to do $10,000 damage to a business.
Easy.
No time at all. Pete, you're a firefighter. How much time would it take you to do $10,000 damage to a building?
Not very long at all.
Not long at all.
Or a small fire, for that matter.
Exactly.
I mean,
Right.
in the midst of putting out a larger fire, we do some damage, but it's spending money to save money kind of
It
thing.
is. It really is. The amount of damage that can happen, and I don't care who your insurance company is, they're not your buddies. They're not going to come and be like, yeah.
We did just talk about Progressive Insurance putting dash cameras on cop cars.
Maybe they're on the wrong side. I don't know. But what I do know is no matter what happens, Caitlin and Chris and Eric down here on Summit Street.
And Taco the Cat.
Absolutely right. These guys need a little help right now. They need a little bump, right? They need a little something. If you want, so first of all, website's capitalcityscooters.com. That's fucking obvious. Any dumbass can figure that out. Second of all, there's a GoFundMe out there. Kick them $1 or $2, right? Kick them $1. Kick them a couple of bucks, right?
Let me give us a separate perspective too, because you're a shop owner and they're a shop owner, right?
Yeah.
But without your guys' kind of shops, guys like us don't have our home bases. Because like you guys are not motorcycle shops. You guys are I don't want to say mom and pop. You are individual.
We're definitely mom and pop.
But no, that's an old term.
I'll take it.
What now is what's going
Phil
on?
and Merritt have a cat.
No, but it's there's one person, there's 2 people, there's just a few people that make the shop up, and you don't get that anymore. How many shops like you are opening anytime soon?
No, that business model. When Caitlin started her shop, when I started my shop, we had a business plan, and we probably went to a bank and said, "Hey, can you help us out? Can you cut me a loan?" And they looked at our business model and went, 11% margin? Go fuck your hat. Right? There was no bank jumping at the chance to give me $200,000 to get rolling. And I can tell you that's the exact same way with Caitlin. Caitlin put her blood, sweat, and tears into that. And every year, if she only loses 10 grand of her own money per year, that's a great year for her. Why does she do it? Because she loves doing it. She loves the people that are there. She is a legit, cut her to the core, she bleeds her business, right? She is one of the good ones. She's a great human being. Chris is a great human being. Eric's fantastic. These folks do support. They walk the walk and talk the talk every single day. They hang out with us and we pitch ideas to each other all the fucking time. I will be very clear when I tell you, if you want to do something good with a fucking $20 bill today, throw it at Capital City Scooters. You know why? Because they're just really... A guy came into my shop the other day and said, "Hey, yeah, this is so cool. I love this shop. This is great. We're down in Columbus." And I said, "Yeah, Capital City Scooters." And they're like, "Yeah, our band played there last night." So next door to Capital Cities is a place where the bands are playing. And he's like, "Yeah, we played next door to Cap City." last night, and I'm like, oh, that's fucking cool.
So MotoHop asked a question, but I'm going to apply it to everybody. So
sure,
if you're an adventurous dude or a lady,
yes,
and Friday, Saturday, and Sunday is not enough for you,
right?
Do you think you could leave the DGR and make it down to Columbus for that?
Well, there is a DGR in Columbus, first of all.
Okay, but I'm saying if you're
and
up
that's
here.
in the early part of the day.
Right.
So the later part of the day, the evening part of the day is when their Capital Cities is doing their thing.
So if you really were adventurous and you wanted to ride, like do all the stuff in Cleveland and then go down to Columbus, you could probably make it.
Sleepy, can you throw this up for me?
I sure can.
All right. So Sleepy's throwing it up on the main screen right now. Take a look. For you guys playing at home, that's Capital City Scooters Recovery. They've raised $1,920 of that 10K goal. And I'm going to tell you a little something about the damage that happened to their shop and what happened to them. That 10K goal, man, that is too short. That is a small goal. They're hurting a lot more than that. Just emotionally, they're hurting a lot more than that. The feeling of having your shop violated,
it's fucked up. Yeah.
that is a special kind of dipshit. And I slept in my shop for 2 days after my shit got blown out. I put wood up on the doors. I went in heavy. I had my AK. I had 1911 sitting there, and I was praying those dipshits would come back. Yep, because now they know I'm softened up. Now they know that I got wood on my wood where the windows used to be, right? And I was like, please let these cocksuckers come back, because I want a pound of flesh. I didn't care about $5,000 worth of windows. They fucking had the nerve to come into my house. Yeah. And our neighbors are super sweet to us. Our neighbors, we love our neighborhood. We love being where we are. And I can tell you that these guys have been where they are for a long time. Mm-hmm. And the neighbors love them as well. So whatever fucking dipshits broke into their place, yeah, I get it. It's really, really violent.
Well, at least you know, because of scooter and motorcycle karma, anybody who steals a bike, it's not going to do that person any good.
You fucking know it. Everybody's that is absolutely true. Yeah, and that is one of those things where you can't do enough to help this kind of stuff, right? And you visit a town, you see a cool shop, you're like, I'm going to buy a t-shirt. And any of our podcast listeners, they show up at our shop. If you make the mistake of telling me you're a podcast listener, sorry, hope you didn't have any plans for the next hour.
Yeah.
Right? I'm totally hijacking your ass. You're getting space invaded. Like I'm holding you hostage for the next fucking hour. You're a podcast listener and you came to Cleveland and came to my shop. I need to know what's broken about you.
Yep.
I want to know why you're like me. Why do you listen to the dumb shit that we do for 14 years? And then Renee's going to make you feel better by giving you a box of cool shit. Yep. Right? She's going to lay stickers and fun stuff on you to sort of apologize for my overly egregious nature. So I'm just going to say, if you've ever been to Columbus, if you haven't, if you want to support a small shop, throw them a couple of bucks, man. Buy them a coffee, right? The whole deal. It's not super painful to do this to help somebody out, right? In my opinion, I think that it's one of those items that when somebody's hurt, you help them, right? It doesn't take much in today's day and age to make a few clicks with your mouse. And I don't know if you're like, I have this weird gentleman's account that's called Venmo, where money goes that, some things happen in the back alley and $80 ends up in my Venmo, $80 ends up in my Venmo. Right? Taxman doesn't need to know about that. But I can peel a little bit off my Venmo every once in a while if I want to help somebody out. Mm-hmm. Maybe I want to buy a drone for somebody in Ukraine. Maybe I want to do this or that or help a guy out on a long cross-country trip. Or maybe somebody's bike broke down and we're going to throw him a little buck or two. That's what I use this for. It's discretionary bullshit spending.
Oh, yeah.
I don't want to, I don't want a t-shirt. I don't need, my name on the wall of your shop or something. Throw them a couple of bucks, man.
Good people.
Mm-hmm. They're great people. Yeah. They're great people. Plus, they also throw a fucking awesome rally. If you've never been to Scooter-Q, the Scooter-Q rally, for being a city rally, is one of the best goddamn... They did a Warriors-themed rally.
Ooh.
Warriors. Come out and play. And everybody had the vests, and they were totally gigged up. And I got to deliver the line.
You know, there had to be some of the baseball guys down there. The split
there
faces
were.
Or whatever.
Baseball Furies.
Fucking Baseball Furies, dude.
Yeah,
the baseball. Absolutely. I loved it. Yeah, and I had my sidecar rig with a PA system in it. So
you had to.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I loved it. It was so much fun. But, yeah, do that. If you're going to throw up a couple of bucks, throw a couple of bucks. That's it. I lead by example. I just threw a couple of bucks down,
Oh
so we're
no!
good to go.
Here comes
breaking news.
Look at this guy. Hold on.
Oh my God, we've got news from David Swearingen. Just a note to let you know how much I love the Calibro 700 bagger. Or, I'm sorry, is that Calibro?
Calibro.
The Calibro 700 bagger. Perfect bike for me. Only complaint is the digital day of the display of the speedometer.
Can't see it at all in the sunlight.
And that's true. That is true. So we were talking with the rep, and we were talking about the rep, and I was like, so one of the major things that I love about the Calibro 700 bagger is it has no extra kerfluffery, right? There's no like I got to push these 17 buttons to activate this thing or whatever, or turn on or off the ABS, or 17 channels of traction control. It's really just a basic motorcycle, right? 700cc basic motorcycle, but we got to figure out a way to make the display higher contrast.
Oh, the nits.
Because if you have the fucking sunshine behind you, then that glass display business is just a reflector. Like it's just, you can't see the numbers. Like you can't see stuff.
Could you put like a matte coating on
That's what I was thinking. Yeah.
Well, no, more than that, they have an ND. So what you want to do is like
ND
look on
filter.
Amazon.
Filter?
It's a flat piece of sticker that's like an ND filter, and it'll cut the UV down, and you'll be able to see. Like when you look through it, you look at a lake, you can see right through the water and see the fish in it. So it does the same.
So
thing.
it's a polarizing filter.
filter,
Right.
ND polarizing filter.
Okay,
correct.
I love that.
Those are two different. Yeah, that's.
I love that. That's fucking cool. And that right there, because you just buy that and stick it on.
Yeah, and you probably cut it to shape because it's like a plasticky film usually. that you
I
stick on
fucking
stuff.
love that.
That might
like
help.
a phone screen protector almost.
Yeah.
Right.
100%.
I like that. That's badass.
Hell yeah.
I'm a huge fan of that. So just going to let you know, put your money where your mouth is. I just gave $300 to Capital City. That just happened. And I didn't use, and that's how easy it was, by the way. It took.
Oh, look at that. Wait, hold on, Phil. You're a top
You're the
donor.
top donor.
Oh shit.
Yeah, there you go. Well, I'm not the top donor. There's people. I saw people on there were 500.
500.
I did $300. I did $300 because I love those guys, and that's the least I can do. So that's fine. But y'all, this is one of those ones. This is one you get to have an opportunity. And I don't use my real name, so just so you know that. Yeah.
Felipe Aguas.
Felipe Aguas.
Aguas.
I like hearing about seeing Moto Hop because I started listening to some of their podcasts,
Yes.
and I think they have They dropped. They weren't doing any for a while, but I think they're dropping some new ones.
Yeah.
So I need to go check those out.
And I've been listening to Front End Chatter too. So the Front End Chatter, the British guys, they're also kind of fun too.
And Noko.
Oh, Nakamoto.
I'm gonna say we are lucky enough to live in the time where there are enough motorcycle options that I can get through my 9-hour delivery day on Monday and never have to listen to terrestrial radio.
I feel like they always like to pick their worst motorcycle is like the last bike we talked about.
Oh, you mean the best bike of the week and the worst bike of the week?
Yeah.
The worst bike in the world?
Like they always find a way to like
and I'm like
shit on a bike that we
Well, I think that Pete and Swiggy have this internal desire to be contrarian with wherever we're going on something.
Just for the fun of it.
For the fun of it. I think it's just for the fun of it.
Hey,
I
Pete
really
Swiggy, I love that LiveWire. That is the best bike ever.
Oh, God. If you don't own a LiveWire yet, your nipples are not hard enough.
I promise you, based on our tirade to start this episode, the best bike of the week for the next week will be the LiveWire.
Yeah,
they were going off. They were talking about the VNOx, and I'm like, didn't we just mention the VNOx?
Yeah, like,
How
did anybody else actually get the VNOx?
There's only 3 people on the planet that know about this motorcycle.
Right.
So yeah.
Right.
What the shit? And I'm the only one that ever talks about it.
Oh
like
my
Phil
God.
wants to forget this thing existed. I'm like, yo,
every
the VNOx 250.
fucking Tom keeps reminding me about it. I'm like, I have PTSD about that motorcycle, and Tom would be like, well, you know, it was a really great motorcycle. I'm like, oh Jesus Christ, I've tried to forget about that fucking thing. And it is absolutely true. I tried to forget so hard about that.
There's still 27 of them in a crate somewhere buried in South Carolina in the back of a warehouse that's been abandoned for 10 years.
I had pretty much totally forgotten that Hyosungs even existed,
Right.
and then you brought him up last week,
yeah.
and I was like, oh shit, why do you got to bring that shit up?
Oh, there's one on Marketplace that keeps getting lower and lower and lower, and I'm like,
It doesn't matter. Yeah, it's a negative dollar amount every single time. Yeah, I promise you that is not worth getting involved in. Stay the fuck away from that. That is a bad idea. Yeah, it's a very.
Hey, look at Dalem.
I had some motorcycle fun last week with my buddy Kevy.
What'd you do, buddy?
Oh, yeah.
He brought me in as a ringer. He flew me out to Hartford, Connecticut. He was trying to get his CB 160 race bike together, and he's paid a lot of money and done a lot of work to it. The motor's done everything you can do, with titanium valves and kibble white and megacycle and all this shit. I mean, like, he's really into it, But and he's not, he's not a bad mechanic or anything. But he's like, come, why don't you come out and help me with? I want to
not the Honda Whisperer.
Yeah, I hung it up. Right. I hung the motor. It was in the frame and everything, but it got a lot of stuff to work out before I took it to the dyno. So, we went out there, and boy, I think I earned my free plane ticket pretty well. I mean, like, there was...
Get your money's worth on that one.
We had to fix the clutch.
You were whispering, you were yelling.
We had to fix the clutch. We had to fix the throttle cable. We had to carb issues. We had to, I'm like, okay.
Oh, so you went through
it. Then the guy who built the motor, so then it wouldn't start. And I'm like, well, we got ignition. We've got spark. We've got gas. It's not starting. It's not even trying. I'm like, that flywheel is 180 degrees out.
Hell yeah!
I guarantee. So we started looking at the paperwork that came on. I'm like, nope, it's 100 degrees. We got to, so pulled the flywheel, flipped it around, did my hucklebuck. Well, this is where it was. We'll get it roughly there. It should start, Right.
And, plus or minus 10 degrees, we'll be okay.
Yep. So then we finally, hey, we got it started, running like shit. Like, I got to fucking, I did a lot.
Oh, nice.
So then we went and, took it the next day.
Or at least the valves in.
Yeah, that was part of the process. Was like, what the fuck? Or it's like a valve wide open or something. Like, no, we checked the valve clearances. We did all this stuff. And
So it's just the timing?
that was the main thing that was preventing it from running.
It was 180 out. It's not going
to...
But I was like, this is the only way that this bike can't run right now is the spark has to be happening at exactly the wrong time.
Right.
And it would at one time popped. And I don't even know how it did that.
That was just exhaust compression.
There was so much ether. Well, we were blasting it with ether. There was so much ether that
just choking the fuck out of it.
Yeah.
So it dieseled one time.
Yeah. But we ran it on the dyno, and there were some problems with that. He ended up leaving it there and having them do some more work to it. They. I said we got 20. He's up to 22 horsepower now out of that motor. Rear wheel horsepower.
That is impressive. That is no slouch at the rear wheel from 160 cc power plant.
It's 203 now.
That's what I was going to wonder. I was wondering how far they
come with stock. Like 9.
Rear wheel would have been like 11 or something like that.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, tops.
Yeah, for a 200cc. I mean, not even a Vespa. It's like
4-stroke, 160cc Honda motor. Yeah. It would have been lucky to see the dark side of 10 horsepower.
Yeah, like 7 or 9. Yeah.
Really not.
He's got an oil cooler. He's got a lot of money in that bike.
Yeah.
But I hope he does well this year.
But the class he's in. So
and he's coming to Mid-Ohio.
Right.
Oh, he's going to run it?
Yeah, so we could sponsor him.
So we got to go see him.
Yeah. I'm going to try to help him out as much as I can.
We got to sponsor him. Yeah, we definitely got to sponsor him.
Sweet.
Yeah, we got to put some stickers on that bike.
Sure.
Yeah.
Put a 360 on
just
the back.
one giant Bourbon Ferry sticker.
Then the cherry on the cake is his fiance just recently got a Pan America.
Oh, really?
So I got to take that for a ride,
Hell
and that was very interesting. I was like, wow. I mean,
like it?
I did like it. I was, I didn't know what to expect and got on it, fired it up, a lot of kerfluffle. And, that bike is only like 530 pounds. Right. I was surprised by that. And she had some mufflers on it and everything. So, but I got on it a little bit. It's not my bike. I didn't really, and they have actually twisty roads there.
And what state do they live in?
Connecticut.
Oh,
beautiful riding.
Very close to Vermont.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Oh. It's like 20 minutes either way.
You're gonna lose his bike.
Oh,
for the exhaustices.
Yeah. Well, it's a They have a great riding. I mean, it's like almost like North Carolina, but just a little, but with stone fences and stuff like that, and New England-y feel, But we took it out. He took off, and I wasn't even going to try. He was like, I wanted to, we came back, and he's like, I wanted to give you some space so you could wind it out. I'm like, no thanks. I'm not crashing, or I'm not trying to harm your wife's bike at all. But a couple times I poked it, and it went, took it up to like 4,500. Well, then I'm looking at the tack. I'm like, the tack goes to 8,500.
8,500 RPM
at
bike.
4,500, it was pretty violent, and I was ready to go, that's enough. And I'm like, I can't imagine what that bike. 150 horsepower.
Right, that's what I was going to say. At 4,500 RPM, you're like at 40% of its available horsepower.
Yeah,
right.
I can't imagine what that bike is like at 8,500 horsepower.
Getting rid of the beans.
Yeah. So, I wonder what the curve is, though, because I think a motor like that, it might have a lot of the beans, but probably start dropping off.
It's a weird.
Or
so
something.
that particular. That motor from Harley-Davidson is a that's their liquid-cooled motor. That's totally different. That's what they're using in their 1-liter bikes now, and that's one of those things that we were talking about with the Guzzi and their new 1000cc motor. How it has this really weird flat torque curve that it just kind of just feeds you power, and you think, okay, well, this V-twin should be running out of steam at 6,500 RPM, but it's not running out of steam at 6,500 RPM. It's continuing to deliver up to redline or electronically imposed speed limit. Yeah,
I would be pissing my pants at that bike at 8,500 RPM.
Yeah.
It would have been a lot.
It'd be interesting.
But so that was really cool. I had a great trip, and Kevin really hooked me up, flew me out there, and everything. I think I earned it pretty well.
I think you did. It sounds like he got his money's worth.
Yeah.
So that's a good tip for any of you guys playing at home. If you need the Honda Whisperer to visit your house and get your shit sorted out, fly him in.
Yeah, what is that Patreon level anyway?
Right. Apparently, it's airfare and lodging.
We went out to dinner, and it was like one of those places where I got the beet salad, and it was like one of these little things.
Oh, it was it was French cuisine.
Yeah,
very
Pinky
small.
out and shit,
right.
yeah.
He ran that through the company expense account.
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah. So you got your beet salad for $200. Yeah,
You're not lying.
Yeah, I know. That's the way those go.
It sounded really good at the dyno, the video that you posted.
Yeah, that was cool.
It sounded awesome.
I actually, so their dial, they had it at 45 degrees advanced.
Yeah.
Wow.
I actually.
That's weird.
Because they built a bike for somebody else. This place has done other 160s before.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I was seeing smoke coming out of the carburetors at high RPMs.
Right.
I'm like, well, that tells me like you're getting spark before our valves are closed when you're in the you have a little window there where both valves are open and it's happening too soon.
Way too
because
soon.
the cam is degreed too, so it's slotted cam. So they've forward advanced the cam.
Yeah, you can index the cam.
And I just I'd like to see what the horsepower would be if you took some of that advance out. And I'm going to talk to Kevin about that.
Yeah, pull some of that advance out and get a little more of that mid range back.
Put it back to 30 and then see what happens.
Yeah, 45 is really fucking spicy. Yeah. And that's great if you're just going to leave the bike at 10,000 RPM all day long, forever. But sooner or later...
Which you probably will, but
sooner or later you need to turn.
Yeah.
Right. So sometimes, some tracks, like if you're talking about Mid-Ohio, there are a couple of turns in there where even on that bike, you're going to be at the bottom end of third gear or the bottom end of second gear, and it's going to be nice to have some torques. Yeah. It will, but I mean, I'm sure 45 degrees does sound fucking like a ton. Yeah. That seems like a ton.
And the ignition system, you can hook up to it. You can dial it in with your laptop and everything. And he he had to go back. And I was 5 degrees out whenever I just hucklebucked.
Literally.
But I was within 5 degrees.
You're generally, when John says that he's just, I'm just going to throw, I'm just going to throw it in the air and see what sticks. I've watched John do eyeball. And then I backed it up with a business card. So you eyeballed it, and then I grabbed a business card to test it. And then I was like, no, okay, we have cigarette. So we had foil out of a cigarette package, and we used the foil, and you were closer with your eyeball than we were using the foil out of a cigarette pack to do the points.
Yeah. That's why he's the Honda Whisperer, man.
That's why he's the Honda Whisperer, exactly.
The bike, I mean, you're going to know that, top dead center. Okay, so maybe it's a tech tip. I mean, that flywheel, if you have top dead center, guess where it should be pointing? Right at the center of the spark plug, because that point it to top dead center, and it's going to be at top dead center.
That particular
so I mean,
flywheel,
just taking a Q-tip, a long wooden Q-tip, and carefully trying to find top dead center as best as I could, just by the little feel it thing, and then and then set it up so it's pointing directly at the middle, and I'm like, it was pretty good.
They're really easy, but I've also seen you and I both seen a bunch of bikes being 180 degrees at a time.
It's not a keyed flywheel. No, it's a smooth flywheel. You can put it anywhere you want.
You just rotate it as far as you want to go.
Wherever you want.
Right. So on a lot of bikes, you can rotate the stator. You can cant the stator a 30-degree window on the stator to adjust for your timing. And, timing lights are a great thing. You should probably have one.
Yeah, we put a timing light on it and stuff like that. And,
But you're setting up your static timing. And, this whole, when we're talking to people that don't understand, oh, my performance went to shit all of a sudden. And I'm like, well, have you checked your timing? And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, How?
you though?
Yeah, you're like,
Did you?
did you? Right? Did you really? Yeah, the guy that brought his bike in the other day and said he'd rebuilt his carb, and I went, did you? He's like, well, I watched a YouTube video, and he goes, I did what it said in the YouTube video, and I was like, okay, so let me think. You took out the air fuel mixture screw and you sprayed a bunch of carb cleaner in there.
That's it. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Okay, great. So you unscrewed all the things that were on the bike that looked like flatheads. You took them all out. You shot carb cleaner in all of them, and you put them all back in again. Yes.
So all your gaskets and hoses or O-rings.
Okay, so you didn't clean your carbs. You just made everything super out of adjustment.
Yeah.
Right. And you bottomed everything out. And then Tom took that apart. Tom took that one apart today and gave me the whole, like, Phil, what the fuck, man? And I was like, well, we're the people that maintained that bike for a long time. And Tom was like, there is no way we touched this bike last.
I usually leave the air screw in and back it out a little bit so that when I blow through it, it goes through. You can see it go through the circuit. It should go in and up in the carb and out the jet.
Oh, these people are doing carb cleans by ear.
Oh,
like they're like, oh, there's a hole. Put the noodle on the thing and blast it.
Yeah. And they're using the chlorinated, whatever the fuck it is that eats the. What is it? It's not chlorinated.
Chlorinated. It's good. It goes right in your eyeballs.
There was screws missing.
No, but there's
half
one
the choke
kind
was missing.
I mean, like seriously, Tom's not joking. This carburetor was missing vital components.
Yeah. Right, but isn't there? So with carb cleaner, there's two kinds. There's one that you can get on O-rings.
Well, that's brake parts cleaner. So brake parts cleaner, there's chlorinated and non-chlorinated.
Yeah, but there's also like there's good carb cleaner, like good old school gum out, but then there's like this stuff that it doesn't evaporate away. It's like
the wolf juice.
It's like
starch, you bastard.
Starch, you bastard.
It's not good.
But well, I mean, we're not going to throw the guy into the bus too hard. But again, he goes, I cleaned my carb. I went through the carb. I cleaned it out perfectly. And now we're saying,
don't ever do that again.
You know what's the best thing to clean out old carbs? Fuel injection.
You're not kidding.
It's amazing.
So I feel really, really bad. So I went on a trip this past weekend.
Yeah.
And I met a guy, and he's
Tanuki.
like, "Oh, you know,
Tanuki's up.
Tanuki, drink Tanuki, drink." Oh my god.
And I'm talking to this guy, and he says, "Yeah, my son just bought a bike." So you know, we're talking about the podcast and everything else. He says, "My son just bought a bike. He's really excited." I said, "Oh, cool. What did he get?" And he said, "A Honda V45." And I went, "Oh God."
Well, there you go.
And he went, "What do you mean?" I said, "Do him a favor and tell him to get rid of it and buy something."
What are you doing, Tom? As he deletes the guy's phone number?
So, he's like, "Oh God."
So I said,
the guy that was working on Kevin's bike.
I said my name was Armando and I live in Philadelphia.
he had a little gem sitting outside on the. He was trying to sell. It was a VTR 250.
Yeah. 250 Interceptor. Yeah. That's nice. Good thing about that is one carburetor.
Yeah. So I used my get out of jail free card. Recently.
What did you do?
So I'm glad I'm going to the track and I'm not being as dumb anymore. So I was going to work the other day. This gets pretty bad. I was going to work the other day, and I have to get on a highway. I go through a bunch of little roads, and then there's a highway where there's 2 lanes going one way and 2 lanes going the other. And you have to wait for gaps, and then when the gaps, there's nobody there, then you can jet across and get onto the highway. And this happens every day, and cars line up, and we all sit there. And this dude in front of me, it was me and this dude, and then 2 or 3 people behind me, and we got a gap, and he went, and I went, and the car behind me went, and then the dude in front of me slammed on his fucking brakes. And I'm like, ah! And I slam on mine and stop like a 1/4 millimeter from behind him. I'm like, holy shit. I'm like, something must have happened to this guy. Like, that's not a natural thing. Nobody did anything. Like, nobody could have made him mad. So he's not moving, so I go around, and I just get in this lane, and I start driving. Dude goes about 80 miles an hour, gets in front of me, and slams on his fucking brakes again. And I'm like,
so he's checking you?
Yeah, from like 60 to 0, right? And then the cars behind me almost hit me. So I have a bunch of shit going on right now in life, and so I was a little perturbed by it, right? So I kind of like trying to get next to him now because I want to give this guy a piece of my mind. Oh. So now he starts speeding up, and I start speeding up, and then the next thing you know, we're doing about 120 miles an hour. And I'm fucking like raging.
What do you have?
Hold on. I'll get to that. I'm not even thinking about this. And meanwhile, I have my phone plugged in and I'm trying to video it because this guy pissed me off, right? So I finally get up next to him and he swerves at me and tries to knock me off the road. So I swerve back at him and he goes into the fucking grass. He's sliding sideways through the grass. I slow down to see what's going on. He comes back, gets in front of me and brake checks me. So now I'm like, I'm going to kill this guy. So now we're fucking back going 100 miles an hour, swerving at each other. All the traffic on the highway has now like a mile behind us. Like they're not participating in this, right?
Of course not.
So we come up on there's in the right.
And they're all driving with one hand because they're holding their cameras.
Right. So in the right hand lane, there's a car doing 60, and I'm in the right hand lane. He's doing about 90, and I'm doing 90. He slams on his brakes and parks himself at 50 next to this car.
Right.
So I either go behind him and get hit, him slamming his brakes, or I sit there. So now we're just sitting there, and I'm just like, and he's like, and so we're coming up on this light, right? And as the light comes, the car gets in the right-hand turn lane, and I'm like, fuck yeah.
Yeah.
So I get up next to him again, 120, and we're going, and like, this dude is fucking, it's insane. He's out of his mind. I don't even know where I am anymore.
You're out of your mind.
Yeah.
I'm seeing red.
That's fair.
I'm like ready to go to jail. I don't care. This guy is going to die, right?
Hot Rod Lincoln.
Yes, dude.
All right.
So now we come up to this big intersection. It's on 224. It's where there's a Blue Lantern and like a Love's and all this shit. And it's like a whole bunch of lanes. And so
It's a whole bunch of lanes.
Yeah. So he
Like
decides
a Chinese highway.
there's like 15 cars in the rightmost lane, and I'm in the second lane where there's 2. So his mind, he's going to stop back there.
Right.
I'm going to pass him and just get up here.
Yeah.
Well, that's not happening.
That's not happening.
So he stops, and I stop right the fuck next to him, and I roll the window down. I'm like, what the fuck is your problem? And by the time I do that, he's jumping out of his car.
Oh, God.
Okay? So I'm like, okay, motherfucker, it's on. And I'm in a blind rage, so I jump out of the car. And so he comes...
Wait a second. You jumped out of a 4,000-pound metal box.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's listen.
To
I was
engage
not-
in fisticuffs?
He's not the brightest person.
I was not thinking at this point. I was fucking in a blind rage from this. Like, and this was not a normal thing. Like, this guy was a dick, right? So for a half a second, I realized I probably fucked up because I saw a shiny thing in his hand, and I'm like, okay, I'm getting
breast
shot.
knuckles?
Great, I'm getting shot.
That
and
was
I'm,
his badge.
and I'm dead now. Oh no, it wasn't. So once I realized it was not a gun, he had the weirdest thing. It was like a fucking, the ratchets that you got us, the little guy.
Oh, yeah.
He had one that was 2 feet long, and it had a middle ratchet.
Oh,
right?
okay, all right.
So he comes over, but he doesn't know. I'm in pain every day from all my injuries.
Yes, yeah.
So I laugh at him. I'm like, "You're it's a wrench," and he's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna fucking hit you with it." I'm like, "Okay," like that. He's like, "What do you mean?" And so he goes like this. When he did that, I grabbed the wrench, pushed it in his fucking face, hit him in the tooth and nose. And so he was kind of stunned, and I'm like, fuck this. So I kept going, and I pushed him in his fucking car, and I slammed the door on his face. He's like in shock, right? And he's looking at me, and I'm like fucking like, get out, like now.
Right.
And then he locks the door, puts the radio up, and then puts death metal on. And so he's sitting there going, and he won't look at me.
Right.
So I'm like, I go, fuck you. And I get back in my car, and I leave. And so now we're getting there. He goes off to Cleveland. I go toward Akron.
Right.
And then I'm like, oh,
Right,
holy
exactly,
shit. Like,
right.
what the fuck did I just do? Right?
You're carrying a 140 pulse.
But this is not the end
yeah.
of the story.
Oh, my God.
So I get to work, and there's
Yeah.
a certain dude at work that we can confide in each other.
Okay,
I
yeah.
wouldn't tell my
Right.
bosses this story,
Right.
but this dude I can tell, right?
He's a safe space.
You're telling it on the podcast, though.
I know. But this is past tense because
Statute of
Yeah.
limitations on road rage is like 6 hours.
so we're talking, and he asked the same question that John did. He was like, "How the fuck were you going 120 miles an hour in your Hyundai?" And I'm
in
like,
your shitbox Hyundai.
I'm like, my car wouldn't pass E-check. I'm driving my mom's car right now. And then I'm like, oh shit. And he goes, dude, isn't your mom in a nursing home? I'm like, yeah. What if the cops show up looking for her because of the license?
That's the best story ever.
So he's like, dude, your mom's at the nursing home surrounded by SWAT right now looking for this fucking crazy driver.
Oh, Mom.
So then all day long, the nursing home is calling me for shit, and I'm going, okay.
Here we go.
Spam.
So anyways, I now have an injured wrist from socking this dude with his own fucking wrench
Oh
into
my
his car.
Wow.
And
So when was the last time you hit an octogenarian?
No, he was about 40 years old
Oh,
and
really?
about 6'2".
Oh, Jesus Christmas.
And I have a picture of the car because I did the professional videographer thing.
Yeah.
And I hit record twice.
Yes.
So I got 3 seconds and then nothing
Right.
and then 3 seconds of the car.
Oh, okay.
But I still have the car.
Good.
But he's driving a gasoline Jeep with John's like motorcycle Will Dance for, except
Oh, yeah,
for it
okay.
says diesel.
We'll dance for diesel.
But he's driving a gas car.
You know,
But he was.
proclivities are proclivities.
But here's the interesting
Sean
thing.
says he'll dance for DEF.
That's true. But here's the interesting thing. This
What's
guy
the-
was
what's
the
the little horse
loudest, blowiest, like just like biggest, like yelling all over the place.
Yeah.
But as soon as like I wasn't scared of him thing,
No,
he got scared. It was
that
fucking awesome, dude.
That conflicts with his programming.
Yeah, dude.
That's it. So, he's been a bully his whole life.
Right. But I can tell you that the adrenaline hit that I got from that whole adventure.
Pretty solid, huh?
Well, it was not only solid, but it kind of put some perspective into let's not fucking do that anymore.
Yeah, it also probably killed off the last 70 days of weed you've had.
Yeah, right.
He probably just de-weeded you.
Yeah.
It was like fucking right back to baseline again.
Sleeping up past a piss test.
You should have.
The detox. Quick detox program.
He hit the unwilly button.
Yeah. Oh my god, dude.
I would have definitely kept that tool. I'd have been.
You're like, give me that shit.
I'm taking
I
your
thought
fucking
this-
tool.
Oh, dude.
That's mine now.
Yeah. Fuck. Go fuck your head.
I thought this story was going to end like bike riders, and you guys were going to tug each other off later or something.
No, and then I realized
You're gonna meet at the truck stop, the next truck stop, and be like, "I'm just so full of rage right now."
Dude, dude, what are you doing? Dude, what are you doing?
Dutch rudder.
I guess we're kissing.
we find out we're long lost brothers.
Right. Brothers. If you can't make up, make out.
No, but here's a concern I do have. I use those same roads at the same time
all the
every
time.
fucking day.
But does your mom?
But you're not going to be in that same car.
But does your mom?
No.
Because he's got her license plate written down on his forearm.
Have you ever noticed that car though? Like, have you ever?
Well, he has a very distinctive sticker on the back.
Well, you have an advantage now. You can snipe his ass.
Why is this dude in this shitbag Hyundai fucking following me?
Oh yeah. Man, everybody hates me on this road.
No, now I could do it. Now I can totally flip it and do like a Black Mirror.
Oh
Where,
yeah.
like, now I
right.
befriend him, and I make this like a 3-year revenge.
You're right. That guy in that Buick Regal totally fucked with me too.
Just totally befriend him. Get friends with his family. Like get his wife to
Oh, yeah.
divorce him, marry me.
Completely.
His kids calling
His
me
whole
dad.
world.
Yeah.
Just upset his whole world. And when he hits rock bottom, you like, remember that guy in the silver car?
Yeah.
Mr. Road Rage coming at me with that weird two-handled wrench?
Yeah.
Or it could be like that Duel movie with the
Yes.
but like a Lorraine County version.
It could be the Lorraine
Oh my
County
god,
version
am I
of Duel.
participating in Lorraine County shit now? That
No, just go
happened.
straight vanishing point. Just like show up on the hood of his car someday.
Yeah.
Just be like, I want my $2.
But
yeah,
you know
don't
what?
let
I
it
think
go.
the blind range hit because if I come up, if I'm doing 80 in the fast lane and some
Right.
dude's doing 50, I might tailgate you for a minute. And if you brake check me, I'll be like, okay, I deserve that, but you're still a dick, right?
Yeah.
But like nobody did anything wrong to this guy.
No.
Like that's how you get into the highway.
It's called roid rage.
Like this dude, I don't understand what provoked him, but man, it did not go the way he thought.
Again, there's only two types of people who drive Jeeps,
Right.
right? And there's the My Little Pony crew, right?
Yeah.
And we love them. They're great.
Yeah.
Awesomest people ever, man. I love all my Jeep drivers. Bunch of fucking weird ducks and frogs and shit stuck to the dashboard. They are just peace, love, and applesauce. Those are the best Jeep people on the planet. But then there's also the angry, pro, super military, disgruntled fucking.
The Punisher Jeeps.
I'm a Punisher Jeep.
They got the
And I'm
angry
telling
eye bullshit on the front.
fucking-
Moto had a
Exhausting.
point. He was glad I wasn't on a bike.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the first thing I asked. He was like, "Were you riding a bike?" I was like, "No."
Yeah,
I
you
was
don't want
like,
to go
"Okay,
door to
good."
door with somebody when you have no doors.
Yeah.
Well,
Here's a little safety tip from your Uncle Phil.
You ever seen those YouTube videos where like some guy gets pissed and he starts like roid raging on his bike against a car?
Yes.
I'm like, dude, you're not
There
gonna
was
win.
just one of those. They watched a minivan just biff a guy.
I just saw that
Yeah,
too. They
I
just
saw
caught.
that.
They caught the guy. It was in Oregon, I believe.
What, the guy on the
They
bike?
caught him then?
They caught the guy in the van.
Oh, good.
Too bad.
Nice.
It's again.
Yeah,
I was kind of rooting for the minivan.
Right,
I'm like, you go up and try to bust the mirror off of somebody,
Right.
and they run you off the road, and
Right.
that's kind of your fault.
I have taken mirrors off of cars before. The karate chop works really good for most mirrors. And if you get a guy cut you off or do some dumb shit in traffic and literally put your life at risk, I will sneak up on you and I will take your mirror off your car. I'm good at it. I've been doing it for a long time. It sends a message, and you have to think about it. Because every time you look at that mirror and it's not there, you have to think about what you've done. And it's the closest I can get to rubbing your nose in your own stink, right?
But you got to know what the fuck you're doing because
Bingo.
This dude, there was just a video of a dude on a Road King
Yeah.
in his 1% prospect thing, which made it even better.
well, yeah,
and
right.
we don't know what happened beforehand because it's
We
one
don't.
of those videos that kicks in
Yeah,
right in the
yeah,
middle.
right.
But he's coming up to a turn and he's at a light.
Yeah.
So the dude goes to kick the fucking car.
Don't do that.
And when he does, he kicks him in the bike.
no.
That way he
Yeah.
just tumbles on the ground.
Yep.
That's somebody who didn't take physics.
Yeah.
Well, if they have a 1%er prospect patch, they probably aren't a physics major.
Right. You don't need to be. Just take intro to physics.
Exactly.
You will know that on your motorcycle, You cannot kick that car into oblivion. But you can damn sure kick yourself off that motorcycle.
That's the old Newton's cradle.
It is Newton's cradle. That is exactly right.
You're the one ball on the end.
You are literally the one ball.
The other four aren't moving.
And if the 4 balls... No. Yeah, equal and opposite reaction time.
Even if you weigh 400 pounds and your bike weighs 300 pounds, you're still not moving 2,500 pounds.
I get in a kicking fight with somebody else on another bike. I mean, I like to try to do that to Sleepy sometimes.
As long as I know where your kill switch is, it's going to be a really short race. Hey, fucker.
I just like how like all this joking and stuff, but like all road racers mandatorily have to have a brake protector now, for obvious reasons, but also from digging.
Right, because fuck. Because isn't there a rule about that?
Oh yeah,
we shouldn't have to have a brake protector to keep other assholes from pulling your brake for you.
There's a MotoGP guy that lost his whole career a couple years back.
He literally did. The dude reached out and said,
shit.
Right. Yeah, and that's
I'm close by, and nobody will notice this as the guy cartwheels over the bike for no reason on a straightaway.
Yeah. Yeah. I've had some people cut me off. I've had some people express road rage at me or whatever, and then do dumb shit. And then usually what I'll do is I'll really make sure my situation's cool and make sure they're locked in tight. And if they're locked in tight, they can't do fuck all about it. Then I'll go over and take their mirror away, and then I'll just off I fuck. Right? And then usually I find the best solution for that is like 3 right turns. Right? So 3 right turns in rapid succession. I'm on a motorcycle, they're in a car or whatever. And that usually solves the problem pretty good. But I had a guy chase me down one time in a Mercedes after I took his mirror off. And he chased me for about a week and a half. And I made it from one side of Cleveland to the other side of Cleveland. And I mean, I was moving. And he was behind me, and I realized I cannot outrun a Mercedes on a VT 1100
because Autobahn.
Because Mercedes, right? Yeah. And I did, and I was like, "What am I doing? I'm on a customer's bike that I own. It's got a 4-speed transmission, 1100 cc's, and I am going at all of its max chooch. And he's in a Mercedes,
and he's gaining.
When he's like, look, he's doing the equivalent of this much work.
Yeah,
he's literally resting his foot." Slightly harder than he was a moment ago, and he's going 120. Meanwhile, I am shit panicking, right? And listening to all the parts of this motorcycle potentially fail in my brain, and seeing them potentially fail in my brain. And I'm like,
you're just praying for traffic.
I brought a knife to a gunfight. And literally what John says is exactly what happened. I threw myself into the left lane, made sure he got in the left lane behind me, accelerated as much as I possibly could, which on that bike was 1 more mile an hour. Yeah. And then I got into deep traffic and then cut my way across and then immediately dumped off an exit.
Yep.
And I was like, if he backs up on the freeway to go to that exit, I'm going to have to kill him. This is going to go from being a minor road rage incident to a in defense of my life situation. But I didn't. I got off. He proceeded gaily forward, gave me the 1-finger salute, and I was like, wow. But I memorized his license plate because I figured I make that same trip many times.
Yeah, and you want to make sure it's
5 times a week. And in case I happen to cross his paths again, I wanted to make sure to give him an extra lot of space.
Well,
or just shoot him early.
Here's a pro tip for all the players out there that maybe aren't, ready to take, the top side of the law into their hands.
Yeah.
So back in my squid days when we used to do the wheelies on the highways.
You mean like yesterday?
No. Last week.
2 weeks ago.
But when you were doing
4
that,
pant sizes
and
ago.
the audacity of these people to be in the middle of the lanes during rush hour,
right,
when we were trying to do other things.
Right. What was your T-shirt? Your T-shirt
said, "If you see us in your rearview mirror, stay in your fucking lane."
It literally, the T-shirt, Sleepy. And I remember seeing this. This was so long ago, but I saw the T-shirt that you were selling, and it had a guy at a 12 o'clock wheelie, and it said, "If you see this, don't hit your brakes."
Yeah, that.
Right.
And then the other one was literally a rearview mirror with 4 guys doing wheelies in the rearview mirror, and it says, "If you see us in your rearview mirror, stay in your fucking lane.
Stay in your fucking lane."
That. But we used to carry. Do you remember they sold those things? Like if you were in your car and you got into a lake, you could hit it and it would break the window.
It was a glass breaker.
So you kept those, and when somebody fucked with you, you went by their passenger window and
spring punch.
No more fucking window.
Spring punch.
Yeah.
And it just it releases all the energy that's in your tempered glass windows.
Yeah.
We did that to old man Ravazzini's window. He was the old guy that if your ball went into your backyard, it was gone and everything. And we had one, and so we put it on his window. It was
Talk in the microphone.
well, I was talking into the camera.
Penosaurus Rex.
Okay, so you're putting it in his microphone.
So anyway, we like went to one of his side windows to his house and put it up to it. It was like, pow! And it was like, it works really well.
Instant. You guys want a pro tip from your Uncle Phil?
Yes.
Okay. The next time you change the spark plugs in your motorcycle, take the white porcelain insulator off and smack it with a hammer, and it will make 2 pieces. And if you can get them nice and edgy, that's a bonus point. But bust it until there's 2 or 3 pieces.
Which is not easy. You'll have to whack it.
You got to whack it.
It's hard.
You got to whack it, but you got to release those nice sharp edges. And then take those and put them in your pocket. And put them in the pocket of your riding jacket. Not with your throttle hand, with your not throttle hand in your pocket. And then the next time somebody does some evil shit, you fucking grab that and just blast it at their window. It's about a 10% effectiveness, but it is remarkable how effective a pocket full of cracked up porcelain is against a tempered glass window.
Well, you don't need to have throw it that hard. I mean, I did it when I was a kid. And I tried it.
There was not a single unbroken window in Tijuana.
To be fair, it was not an actually running car, but it was like, oh yeah, we have this fucked up little car.
Right.
But we was like, let's throw this.
Let's do some shit. Yeah.
Just basic little
tinked it.
Just spiderweb, the whole thing.
Have you seen them drill? Have you ever seen them drill into like metal, like the inch thick metal with the spark plug? Like in India, they'll take the spark plug, they take the tip off,
right?
They'll put it in a drill thing, and they'll have like an inch thick steel.
It's called heat. Yeah, it's heat
and
drilling.
Just start going down, and they'll fucking drill a hole right through it, dude. Because the porcelain just keeps
keeps getting hotter. Yeah. Oh, that's interesting. Oh, that's super cool. Okay, last story. Last story, my friends. It turns out it's just part of the podcast. Part of the podcast. Regular. All right. So it turns out KTM. Oh, fucking KTM. Oh, poor KTM. It turns out that KTM might have 2 kind of problems on the horizon that I guess falls into the category of, well, no shit. Turns out that one of the things is when he was when our friend Pierre was trying to get some money together to make that magical $500 million number that he had to say he had funding on to get the court in Austria to say, like, we will acknowledge the restructuring of your company and give you permission to not just sell off your entire company. If you pull together this giant pile of money and you prove that you can pull together that giant pile of money, that we will in fact go, yes, we will not force you to liquidate your company. We will let you restructure. Now, keep in mind, this is after all the people that they owe money to are not getting paid. Keep in mind, they're only getting 30% back on the dollar, and that several small businesses that make castings and engine components have gone out of business due to this asshole's fucking hubris. Okay. So he took a loan from a company that is an accessories provider for KTM, and took 65 million euros as a loan, but the conditions of the loan was that if I don't pay you back, you can have a whole shit ton of my stock in my company. He didn't pay him back.
Oh, no.
He didn't pay. What the fuck is wrong with you? You had one job, and that was to make 500 million euros appear from somewhere to prove that you deserve to keep your company running. And I will remind you that this dickhead is worth over $1 billion. So in the world of $1 billion, 65 billion euros, in the world of 1.6 billion euros, 65 million euros is a very small portion of that. Yeah, it's less than 10%. Yeah. Okay? In fact, it's about 5%. So for 5% of all the money that you have control of, you didn't want to spend your own money. And this is where I get pissed, is when guys are like, well, I would never pay off a debt with my own money. I'll borrow money to pay off my debts. Dude, I've paid all my debts with my own money because apparently I'm a dumbass, and that's why I'll never have a lot of money, right? Because I pay my debts with my own money. I don't take loans to pay my debts because I'm not an asshole. But apparently this guy's asshole. So he did, in fact, took a loan and didn't pay the guy back. Because
it sounds like he sold his stock for a really good deal.
And I wonder why his stock wasn't worth very much.
Yeah, so he got $65 million for worthless stock.
Right, for worthless stock.
So he never had intention to do anything.
I think that might be the case. He knew what was going on with his company. A little insider trading when it's, I'm going to rescue myself from a situation I created.
Which he already has $1 billion. So like what, he fucked over all these people for what, an extra 65 mil, you said, or something?
Correct.
Oh, that's so disgusting.
So now they're saying, okay, well, remember when we said that he had met the stipulations about the $500 million and all that stuff? Well, now the court is going, well, he didn't. So we're going to unaward you your certificate of keep on going on kind of thing. But it's okay, because if the court doesn't fuck him, apparently he fucked himself, because he said that he had the wherewithal, he said he had the means to continue production of motorcycles at their factory. Except he'd overlooked this thing called math, where if you're going to build 2,500 motorcycles, you need 2,500 crankshafts, right? If you're going to build 2,500 motorcycles, you need 5,000 tires. You with me?
Those. Yeah, you got to pay those.
If you need if you're going to build 2,500 motorcycles, you need 2,500 fuel injectors. Apparently, in this whole statement of like, telling the banks, telling the people that are going to oversee his restructuring of his company, his not liquidation, his keeping it alive commitment, he told everybody that they were going to go back to work and they were going to build these motorcycles. But turns out he didn't count parts, and that he doesn't have enough parts to build these motorcycles. And I wonder why he doesn't have enough parts. Could it be because the people that you buy your parts from wouldn't piss on you if you were on fire right now, because they're still licking their collective wounds from the millions of dollars of parts that you didn't pay them for?
Right.
Because if I was NGK Spark Plug Company, I wouldn't sell you a spark plug for all the money in the fucking world if you owed me millions of dollars. Let alone if I'm a fuel injection company or a motor company or crankshafts or whatever. So, turns out, KTM, the saga continues. It is not...
I was a credit manager for one point, and I just loved putting a hold on their account. Like, it's not coming off ever.
Right, and that's exactly what it is. And there is no way... I talked to the guy. I talked to the rep for KTM USA in their booth with his giant Rolex watch and his ridiculous outfit of clothes I could never afford. And he's telling me how great their company is and how this is just a minor bump in the road. And this is a restructuring, that they did everything right. They built hundreds of thousands of motorcycles in China, and that it was not their fault that the market took a sudden turn and that they got stuck with all these things, and that they're going to have the buyers for them. And we're going to double the warranties on everybody's bikes to force people to come and buy KTMs, because who wouldn't buy that bike with that big-ass warranty on it?
ABL, always be lying.
Yeah, dude. And that guy was like, and some of my friends went over and talked to him, and they were like, no, KTM's going to do great. And I was like, yeah, did that guy tell you that? And I was like, yeah, that guy's Rolex tells me that he's professional fucker.
Yeah, I remember dealing with like the senior sales vice president of the company, and he was just that guy.
Yeah,
he was just selling. It didn't matter.
Yeah.
Facts didn't matter. And they were. I mean, that company that I worked for, that's what they were doing. It was all about capital investment. Mm-hmm. They didn't have a viable product.
Right.
They had this story. They had this thing where we could turn soybeans into plastic.
Yep.
But it was like, yeah, we put like a drop of soybean oil in with our plastic when we mold parts.
Well.
But they were selling, and they had a famous name, which I won't say. Right. And they were just kept driving in millions and millions of dollars worth of investment, and it never, ever was going to make money.
It was never, the actualization of their plan is impossible. But as long as you can generate investment capital, as long as you can get people to keep giving you money for the fantasy of this Elion motor car or whatever the hell it's going to be, what is that, Damon or whatever that, there's an electric motorcycle company that was out of Canada that had taken a whole lot of money from people startup money, like, hey, we're going to invest in this. It might have been called Damon.
Yep.
Damon? Mm-hmm. Yeah, they just, like, the guy is standing in front of the burning pile of money, right, on the facility that they don't own, right, with the engineers that they haven't paid in 6 months, right, saying, oh, no, we're just going to change we're going to do a couple of tweaks on the design, and we're going to relocate out of Canada, because I don't know why the Canadian government has not put a hold on everything we own, but we're going to relocate to California, and we're going to come back better and stronger. So this is a great opportunity for you investors to get in. Second round of investments, going to come at you much cheaper than the first round of investments. And you know what? The duck is even more succulent than it was earlier. It just wait a little while longer. And when I saw that, and meanwhile, everybody else that's in the industry is like, yeah, these guys are fucking... They were vaporware from the beginning, right? They were vaporware from the beginning. People paid a lot of money for this fantasy. And now it's turned into, the reality is the people in Canada went into the building and there was nothing in there, right? So there was a big pile of where the money was kept, but there was no actual manufacturing going on.
So do you think they're going to go under?
That particular company?
No, KTM.
No, well, what I think KTM is going to happen is I think the value of KTM is going to drop
buy them.
So low that Bajaj or somebody, Bajaj or somebody who actually brings Bajaj, who's like, oh, it is now just down. You can buy this now for $600 million. Okay, that's good. I have that in my mailbox.
Yeah, but what about China? Like, why wouldn't somebody from
CF
China,
Moto,
where they're already building them?
Because those two partners, those two people, CF Moto has a sizable portion of, remember KTM's KTM AG, KTM Motorcycles, KTM Group. There's different KTMs. So CF Moto is a pretty big part of one of those slices of KTM, and Bajaj is a pretty big slice of one of those other slices of KTM.
Okay.
They've divested themselves of that so that they didn't just draw stock out of one pile. So there's different pockets for KTM. So, but there are, there is no small amount of money being invested by Bajaj, and there's no small amount of money being invested by CF Moto, and both Bajaj and CF Moto, due to their relationships with other massive, huge manufacturers, are both financially in great enough shape that either one of them could be like, I guess we're KTM now.
Easy, yeah.
So what's the trick is, and now it turns into a game of, I guess it's a Mexican standoff, right? Yep. So that's not because you're here. Okay. I guess now it's literally just who's going to flinch first.
Yeah.
So there's CF Moto and there's Bajaj, and they're both sitting there watching the bodies stack up and going, should we step in and make an offer? No, wait.
Till drops a little bit more.
Yeah. I think that the banks are going to eventually find more problems here. And I feel like that's going to be the issue. Yeah. I think that might be the deal.
Cool.
Yeah. In automotive news, did you guys see where the Ferrari boat sank?
No.
I did not.
So they built 63 boats to celebrate the 63rd anniversary of Ferrari, I think, or something like that. They built 63 of these boats, and the boat's 63 feet long, and it's got 4,000 horsepower, like two big Ferrari motors in the back of it. And this is a giant fucking monster of a boat. It's
gonna be what, like about 50 grand?
Yeah. It's a very big boat. And it turned out that it had a little problem with buoyancy down in Florida. That it turns out that
kind of important.
It was not frog's ass watertight.
Were they doing haul over with it?
Yeah, they were actually, and so they had done haul over, and they had been in that area. And here's the weird thing: you'd think that a big, giant, red penis-shaped boat. I'm sorry, was Lamborghini? I think it was. Maybe it was Lamborghini. Might have been. Yeah.
Oh,
so
yeah, say no.
Yeah. Sorry, Lamborghini. Sorry, I got that wrong. So Lamborghini. So it's a Lamborghini boat. So Lamborghini boat. The Lamborghini boat, 63 feet long. 63 feet long.
They should have stuck the tractors.
Yes. Yeah. $4 million boat. And it turns out there were 32 supermodels on board. Or, alleged supermodels. But there was a lot of butt cheeks. There was a lot of thongage. If you look at the video, there's a whole lot of thongage. But in any case...
they should float.
The extreme buoyancy.
Extreme plastic.
But it turns out that boat, 63 feet long, I thought that a 63-foot long boat would be able to hold 32
models,
buoyant people, right? Mm-hmm. But it turns out it can't. It turns out that particular boat is not designed for mass transit.
I did see
It turns out that boat is designed for really rich assholes. So that boat, 63 feet long, thousands and thousands of horsepower, is designed to hold 6 people.
Yeah, I did see this.
Oh no!
So it's like 2 crew members and like 5 other people or something like that. And the long and short of it is they had about 26 too many people on board.
Where's the picture?
I'm pulling it up
Okay.
right
A
now.
friend sent this to me this week, but I didn't realize
Yeah,
it was a
we'll bring this up
Lamborghini
for you
boat.
guys at home.
Is that a video or just?
I can't show the video for obvious
Oh, you
reasons.
can. Just don't play the audio.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Just
Well,
mute
then
it.
I'll do that. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's great. Yeah, we'll mute that.
I would like to see all the
All right.
Bottles. Yeah.
There we go.
Bobbing for supermodels
Skip,
sounds
skip,
fun.
skip.
All right,
there
we're
we
gonna skip
go.
this and
So
then
the people
Sleepy's.
that are listening, we're just
Right,
looking at
we're just gonna look at this
commercials
picture.
right
All
now.
right.
Oh, here's a boat.
So there's a rescue boat coming on scene. Yay! Here comes the Miami-Dade Fire coming in to rescue some shit. I bet you there's some really horrible things happening. I bet you somebody. Oh, there's a very expensive boat doing a wheelie. Boats aren't supposed to do wheelies. Look at that. There's like 30 people in life jackets on the bow of that boat, and the back of that boat is just like, I'm going down, babe.
There's a
I'm
lot of
going
side
down.
boobs. There you
There's
go.
so much side boob. There's so much ass crack.
I want to
It's
salvage me one of
ridiculous.
them.
Yeah, it is. Right now, there's
Oh, look, the fireboat's pumping more water into it.
that is like $900,000 worth of plastic surgery,
Yep.
all heading down. And the poor guys in the back that are rushing, desperately trying to save the boat because they're pumping water out of it. They're doing everything they can, while the girls up top are no shit. She's got her phone in her hands,
out,
and she's taking selfies. There's like 8 of those girls are running fucking Instagram right now. They're all on the chats of Snat and the talks of Tick. I love it.
Chat.
Yeah, this boat is failing hard. And it turns out, I did look it up, and the boat is allowed to carry 7 people. And so whoever rented this boat or leased this boat or borrowed this boat or got hired this boat for the photo shoot of 32 models did not bother to read that just because your boat is 63 feet long means you're not allowed to have 36 people on it.
Yeah, they kind of fucked up.
You know what, though?
They did.
This guy never heard it's not the size of your boat. It's the motion in the
It's
ocean.
the motion of the ocean. And this is one of those things where there's a lot of guys in Miami that are illegally running charters for Instagram, for influencers.
Yeah.
And the Coast Guard has been jumping on their boats and saying, hey, look, you're running an illegal charter here. Like, if you're running a charter, you're moving people for money, you got to have a lot of safety equipment, you got a lot of safety training, you got to have a lot of stuff. You can't just be a guy with a boat who's leasing it out for $50,000 today so, Becky can go out and take her, Instagram shots or whatever.
What do you think, Pete? What's that boat doing? Is they just trying to keep the gas slick?
I don't know what they're doing. I was looking at
Or
that
they
too.
have
I
the
have
pump
no
primed and
idea.
ready to go if
Oh,
it
I'm
catches
sorry.
fire?
I'm sorry. That's me dumping more water onto
Look-
the situation.
No,
because
I think
fuck
those firefighters are just like, yeah, we're pumping the water out of the boat. Sure, we are.
They're like, these girls weren't wet enough. Let me
I
just
love how
hose them
they're
down.
I love how they're all still perched up
Oh,
and taking
yeah.
fucking glory shots and
No,
stuff.
that's a different boat.
That's a different boat. You're right. No, the other boat are truly the devils
Moving them
who are
out,
like,
yeah.
let's get a shot of me with a fucking sinking Lamborghini boat behind me.
Oh, those are a lot of booties.
So there's so much ass on that thing. It is tons and tons of butts.
Look at the club lighting going on in there.
Oh, the club lighting. And
He's still wiggling her. Oh man.
this is my point, right? This is my point. When one of the Marine guys that I watched said, apparently this was.
How you doing?
He was saying that apparently this was a meeting of the Mensa team.
Yeah,
the Mensa members were on the
Right.
boat. That is an interesting thing. So before you get on a boat, I did one time get on a 35-foot Sea Ray with twin diesels. And my friend had invited me to go on, but apparently my friend had also invited everyone to go on.
I would say this guy's in a real conundrum.
I don't think he got consent.
Oh no, not that one again.
Michelle and I got on this boat that was way overloaded
As in he's getting
on its
done.
way to Mackinac Island. And Michelle and I were like, wow, I think maybe there's too many people on this boat. And there were well over 30 people on this boat. And I said, so, Michelle, I'm just letting you know, I'm going to be back in the back of the boat, above the motors. I'm not going below decks. I'm staying out here where I know that when things go ugly, I can just self-deport myself.
Yep.
I can just literally unass the AO right quick in a hurry. Right over the side, me and the PFD. Been nice to know you. I was the first wet guy on that boat. Because the last thing you want to be is the last guy. You don't ever want to be the guy who's like, yeah, I don't want to go in the water. Go in the water. It's fine. Yeah, I think they are definitely pumping water back into that boat for what it's worth. Yeah, that looks suspiciously like they're not getting it out of the boat far enough. But I also think there might be a chance that they're doing some diesel mitigation or gas mitigation or something like that. Yeah. What did John say? The solution for pollution
is dilution.
Is dilution. There you go. There's some dilution happening there. So anyway, 32 rescued in a Coast Guard rush. Yeah.
It makes me so happy.
They're going to sink the rescue boat.
Oh, no, that rescue is a giant rib. Did you see there's 900 horsepower on the back of that rescue boat?
What?
Yeah. There's big three Hondos on the back of that thing.
The Cleveland Fire rescue boat went down, almost did the same thing that
Did
was
it?
doing.
Oh, no.
Because those motors were mounted to a big float on the back, and the one thing popped off, the access to it popped off. And so
really?
It filled in. So there was actually another bulkhead mounted to the back of the boat just to help support the motors.
Yeah.
And then so it did the same thing. It was
because sometimes they'll convert an inboard with an outdrive. They'll convert that to a transom that has outboards mounted to it, which has become more popular. Oops. Yeah.
Because we've been working on the boat, and they were trying to blame us. I'm like, have you ever heard the term like batten the hatches?
Yeah, right.
You
Exactly.
go out? Like, if that's not part of your check to make sure everything's closed up, it's not our fault.
Step one: ensure the water tightness of your boat. Like, I'll admit it, I sunk a 1200cc supercharged jet ski. I did that. Because some sneaky bastard had reached all the way up under the exhaust system inside the boat, where there is a water jacket that goes around the exhaust system to cool said exhaust system and to cool the motor and to make it quieter. And he had undone a 3-inch bung, a 3-inch plug. He'd unscrewed that. So all the power of this motor that sucks water in and pushes water around and pushes water out was just pushing water into the hull of the boat. Because if that plug's not there, well, you take that plug out in the wintertime so things don't freeze and crack in your boat and break the water jacket. But if you have that plug out and you run the boat in the water, you basically have a 200 horsepower water pump pushing water into the hull of your very, very, very small boat. And it turns out a very, very, very small boat doesn't take a lot of water to make it into a very, very, very small submarine. Mm-hmm. And it turns out between me and Dr. Waters, we found out how heavy one of those things is to fucking drag in. Yeah, it's not great. I don't recommend it. So before you buy a used jet ski or personal watercraft, make sure all the holes are plugged. Yeah, maybe give a little sea trial before you go shooting down across the water at 50 miles an hour, far from home. Yeah, maybe just ride it around in circle for 20 minutes and go look under the seat and see if it hasn't filled up with water a little bit.
Well, it's equivalent to trying to buy a bike. You're at 140 on the freeway and go, I haven't tried the brakes yet.
Yeah.
Inertia's a bitch, man.
The worst thing is when you take a motorcycle in on trade and you're trying to be cool, but you have to be a dick. So when a motorcycle's coming into your shop on trade, you have to be a dick. Not only because that becomes your problem. So whatever you take in on trade, the second you sign the title, the second you give them the money, all of the problems with that bike just became your fucking problems. So it's better to find those problems when you don't own those problems. So I'm pretty aggressive about taking a bike that's coming in on trade. I'm pretty good about taking it out for a spirited test ride. And you would be amazed at what some people call in perfect shape. It's not in perfect shape. It's not close to in perfect shape.
No, the bike that you rode today is in perfect shape.
Is,
oh, yeah.
That
perfect
is,
shape.
and here's the thing.
Yeah. And I still test rode it. Well, no, because I'm a dick.
But on top of that, everybody that saw that bike was like, holy shit.
Yeah.
If your bike isn't, when you pull up to anywhere, not a bike meet where people are thinking, but just anywhere, and everybody goes, holy shit, your bike's not meant, dude.
Oh, and the guy that traded in the Aprilia, so the guy that traded in that Aprilia Shiver 750, he didn't take 10 minutes to wash the cocksucker. Like, he brought it to me filthy. And not with this year's filth, last year's filth, right?
All that Harley's like museum level fucking cleanliness. It's
right.
Like,
yeah. That Aprilia showed up, and that Aprilia was like, nobody's ever washed me.
Yeah.
Right? And when I got on the Aprilia and took it out for a honk, I was like, come on, man. And I brought it back, and I just looked at him. I went,
you're not even trying, man.
You're not even trying. You're just not even trying. Like, we got issues. We got things we got to sort out. And the other day I rejected a bike, and I rejected the bike because its sprocket looked like a fucking school of sharks. Its sprocket was more hooks than I've ever seen in my life. Its sprocket was just a bag of hooks.
Circular saw blade.
It did. It was the worst looking fucking... And I was like, how does the chain even get out of there? Once the chain gets in, how does the chain get out again? I have no idea how this sprocket continues to sprocket.
Each tooth has to bend back and forth every time.
Yeah. And I just looked at the bike and I was like, dude, you're not even trying. Like, this is ridiculous. And he goes, well, you know, I really made sure to adjust my chain. And I'm like, I think you adjusted your chain after every ride.
Yeah.
I think your chain is running at 400 PSI right now. And also, for the record, your tires stopped being tires a long time ago. You now have turned those tires into inner tubes. They have no tread and there's very little rigidity to them.
Baloney skins.
They were just awful. Yeah. And the guy's like, but you don't want, you know, what are you going to give me for it? I'm like, I'm giving you nothing. I'm giving you advice. Don't ride this bike home. Yeah. Don't ride your bike home. Just leave it here, and the scrappers will get it. The Jawas will come and pick it up. Oh, but it's a 92. And I'm like...
That's not helping.
Yeah,
it's
making it worse.
It's a Suzuki 250. Nobody cares.
Yeah.
Right? Nobody cares. Right? Nobody wants your bike. It's fine. Just leave it where it is. Just don't ride it home.
What kind of 250?
It was a GZ.
You could have used the parts for your...
Yeah, right.
For your...
You know what, John? I'll take the chances with the clutch I got. I'm pretty sure the bad clutch I have is better than the clutch that was in that bike.
Okay.
Yeah, because it's pretty clear that bike had done no shortage of smoky burnouts because the back tire was Gonzo and the front tire was OEM 1992 equipment. Yeah, so it's like, yeah, you gotta let some of them go. You just don't want that shit in your shop. Usually now my new thing is when people try to trade bikes in, my first statement is, well, if it's not fuel injected, you're going to have a really hard time convincing me that I want your bike on trade. And then that automatically puts them on the defensive. And then they're like, well, but this is a really rare bike. I'm like, really? How rare is it?
Though?
That's the whole thing. But is it though? But is it though? But is it though? I don't think it's that rare. Yeah.
That's a good out.
Call me crazy, but not that rare. It's the third one I've turned down this week, in fact.
It's a rare Honda.
If I have one more guy telling me how rare his V-Star is, I'm just like, dude,
this is the rarest katana ever made.
No, you know what? Not only is it the katana guys, it is the guys who are like, oh, you got a V-Star. And then I realize it's pre-V-Star. And you're like, oh, no, it's a Virago. And you're like, okay, that's that. But if you say Virago, that means instantly historical registration. That is it. If the word Virago comes out of your mouth, that shit cannot be anything but historical registration.
Well, and there's not a dude who originally bought a Virago who's not on Viagra.
You were not going to believe
the Yamaha Viagra Virago.
You're not going to believe the condition of this Savage.
Yes, this Savage. I'm going to bring you in the cleanest Savage you've ever seen. No, but wait, it's an LS 400.
Oh.
Yeah.
I got a KZ 1000. What is it? Oh, LTD.
Yeah,
right. Sweet, dude.
Oh, but I got a KZ 1000, but it's shaft drive. Yeah. It's the good one.
With the king and queen seat. It's really cool.
It's really cool, man. Yeah, it's really cool. It's got the buckhorn handlebars and everything. Yeah, it's got red pinstripes, too. Yeah, it's fantastic.
I feel offended because I owned a katana. So.
You did have a katana.
Yeah.
Yeah, you had a katana.
It was a 95 red with purple fucking rims. The tree there.
Do you remember the candy called Spree?
Oh, yeah.
That is what I think of every time I see purple and red sitting next to each other. Yes, I'm like, yep, that is truly a candy of the
bike.
80s.
It was the first bike.
It is not a bad first bike.
It is what
It was a different time.
Was it the was it the Katana 600?
600.
600, right? Yeah.
I mean, I got it up to like 135 miles
Exactly.
an hour. So I mean, I beat the shit out of it. So I'm not knocking it.
My first real motorcycle had 31 horsepower out of a 600cc engine. That is a stunning accomplishment that can only be achieved by BMW. Yeah, that is. We've surgically removed all of the horsepower from this motorcycle. We've taken the horsepower, we've replaced it with reliability. But an 18-year-old kid doesn't. An 18-year-old kid doesn't want reliability.
No.
An 18-year-old kid wants horsepower. No. Yeah. And when you give an 18-year-old kid a 600cc boxer, yeah. Because the 18-year-old kid doesn't want to hang out with 60-year-old guys. No. That's not what he wants. You want to show up at the club and be like, nice bike. And I showed up at the club and they were like, oh, you're giving Opa his bike back when you get back? Yeah. Stole Grandpa's bike. Oh, that's cool. Is that post-war or pre-war? Yeah. Yeah. I understand you're in the Army, but you didn't need to show up with a surplus German motorcycle. Yeah. Well, that's it. I think that's been a hell of a podcast. I think you folks at home should consider yourself well entertained. If nothing else.
Entertained?
Do you have any parting words, Oscar?
No.
No, all good.
No.
Nice to be back, even if it's just for.
Tomorrow we're going to a Star Wars party.
Yeah. Here's the problem though.
Yeah.
So this podcast was like 65% handsomer.
Oh yeah.
It goes back to normal next.
You mean after Smith left?
Sean, right?
Sean Beck.
Oh.
It's okay. Chris doesn't listen to the podcast. He's not a listener.
It got better as soon as he left.
Chris left. Sean and Oscar showed up. It's great. We're going to an immersive Star Wars party tomorrow night. So I went there. I went Sunday on the May the 4th. Mm-hmm. So I went there on May the 4th. It was fucking amazing. Nice. And it was pouring cats and dogs. And they have an outdoor environment and they have an indoor environment. And despite the shitty rain, it actually added to the whole creepiness of the thing.
The whole swamp situation with Baby Yoda and everything.
Well,
outside.
it was weird because it's supposed to be Tatooine, but it's pouring down rain and it doesn't do that at Tatooine, and so people are just kind of roaming around being like, "It's a miracle," like, "Oh, it's great, we got rain for the first time in 1,000 years."
Gets everywhere.
And I was like, "Oh yeah," it's like Edu, the planet where it never stops raining. Yeah. But it was really fun because the bands that showed up were fucking amazing. Nice. And they leaned into it. So they were all in costume too. So, and it just got like
jizz all night.
Okay, but hold on. Was there
all the jizz you want?
Tell me there was at least one like elephant-looking dude with 9.
Yeah, there was. Yes.
Well, yeah.
Okay.
Who do you think?
Right.
So just the one song on the loop.
It wasn't named Ebo.
Max Rebo.
Max
Rebo. Yeah, Max Rebo. He was there. Well, what was funny is my friend Kyle came with me. Right. So Jedi Kyle comes with me. She shows up a little late in the game. And they have, the whole place is like, it's not fucking around. But then they have little Easter eggs hidden places. They have this like weird shit. Now, any of you guys who watch Star Wars will know there's a point in the movie where somebody has the plans for the Death Star. Mm-hmm. And they've put them on something the size of a playing card with a gold circle on it.
So many boffins.
And they are trying to get these plans, and Leia ends up taking the plans and putting them into an RT unit, an R2 unit, and that's how the movie starts. So we're dancing on the, having a great time. The bands, everybody's got Nerf blasters. We're shooting the shit out of each other. The guys on stage are just furious. They've taken so many shots to the eyeballs. It's ridiculous. If you're on stage there, wear safety glasses. That's just what I'm saying. Protect yourself.
Chicken wire.
Yeah, we can't be counted on to not hit your eyeballs. It's a Nerf. We're making contact. Anyway, Kyle's like, and she's like, oh, look what I found. And I'm like, holy shit, you just found the plans to the Death Star. And she goes, what? And I was like, those are the plans for the Death Star. So part of the fun of this game is they just kind of pepper the area.
Oh, shit.
And then you can use that to trade. Ooh. And so I was like, you have the plans for the Death Star. And she was like, yeah, whatever does that mean? So I'm like, no, what that means is, and so they have an actual Sabat
it's a lot of bargaining
tent.
Power.
Yes, you have all the bargaining power.
Run.
It is the Ace of Spades, right? So they have a Sabat tent where if you know how to play Sabat, you can go and play Sabat and gamble for Imperial credits and stuff like that. And and you have to check your weapons outside. You're not allowed to go in the Sabat tent with your guns on because that's how bad shit starts. Ask Lando. But she has this thing, and I was like, no, you need to go up to somebody and like tell them, be like, look what I have. Yeah. What will you give me for it? So our mission tomorrow night is, I know where she found that. So we're going to kind of go back and check some shit out. Because if we find something of that value, we're going to barter that into all access, the VIP room.
Hell yeah.
Because that's where they got the good Twi'leks, right? That's where they got the like... Ooh. Yeah, right. Give me I'm all about a girl with head tentacles.
The non-Claremont lounge.
Yeah, right, exactly. Yes, yeah. That's where I want to be.
I mean, tentacles, I mean...
This sounds fascinating. Oh, where's this at? I want to make sure I avoid it.
Yeah, this is this is in
What's
deepest.
the address of this?
Keep talking.
Deepest, darkest Detroit. Yeah. It's really good.
You know, at some point, somebody's going to have one of those, like, splorch things.
I was just ready to say, break out the splorch.
What is it, the ovipositor?
Ovipositor?
Oh, God.
Yeah, I think that was a whole costume. I think, there were a lot of people. In fact, they do, instead of having a costume contest, what they do is they call people up on stage and they say that of your species, we have decided that you are the most attractive of your species here tonight. And then they do a dating game up on stage and they force you to do a dance off and they pick the two people that they like the best. It's a very silly way to do a costume contest, but they force you to dance and do like a dance off. And it was really fun watching people sort of be like, oh, I think it would be great. And like the idea is like they're going to pick two people or two beings and they're going to put those beings together. And they're like, and you can now go raise a whole new race of people or a new species of things. I thought it was really
Do you get
good.
to consummate the pretend
That
marriage?
sounds like an orgy.
Oh, there was an anglerfish. There was like an angler lizard being that was there. And I'm just going to say she was into it.
Nice.
She was into it. I think she may have gotten oviposited before she left.
Nice.
Yeah. And there was a 6'3" Scythian woman that was like if Darth Maul was sexy, if you can imagine that. The people do lean into this. Like you don't show up and like half-ass it. Like I showed up and all my stuff was like clean and looked like I'd like planned a costume. And I was like, no, fuck you. You need to be dirty. Like tomorrow I'm going to dirty my shit up.
So the 0.5 thick, like plastic punched out C-3PO mask with the plastic suit wouldn't go over?
Probably not.
Okay.
No.
The 70s Halloween costume.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I get it.
With the rubber strap in the back.
The rubber,
Or you'll be like, I put so much money, I put so much time into my ultimate Kylo Ren costume. I've got my shit dialed in perfectly. I'm going to show up and I'm going to be the coolest guy there. And you'd be like, no, there's 19 Kylo Rens.
So what you're saying is you got to pick the most obscure motherfucker in the whole show and just master that guy.
So it turns out the guys who do this good, they want to be Tatooine mechanic number 5.
That's what I was thinking.
You want to be the ultimate background character.
Yeah.
You want to be like the dirty guy at the bar. And that's the best. So if the guys want to show up and be the hero, they want to be Ben Kenobi, they want to be Luke Skywalker, great. Fucking more power to them. There
think
is
about the work. You
far
gotta-
more honor into just getting on your grubby overalls. Kyle showed up in a pair of a blue jumpsuit, white motorcycle helmet, rebel medallions on the front of it, right? And came in with a pair of work boots on and like straight up like, yeah, you blend.
I mean, one of my jumpsuits does have Onaka Transport Solutions across it.
Exactly right. What I'm saying is less is more, people. Less is more.
Think about the effort too. Like to be one of the main characters,
Right.
You better be able to impersonate the motherfucker.
You'd better own it.
Yeah.
You'd better own it.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm walking down like a guy.
You better throw baby fits all night long if you're Kylo Ren.
I'm just showing I'm just showing up, doing my thing, walking down one of these crazy hallways. It looks like I'm inside a spaceship, and they do a great job of that. And this guy comes up to me who is 300 pounds of beef, and he comes up straight up bounty hunter and has a scanner, and it's like does an eyeball scan on me, and he's like, I'm collecting bounties, and I was like. And by that point, I already had my pistol at his dick. And I was like, back off, cowboy. Like, I don't even want you to get... I don't even want to find out where you take people. Mm-hmm. He's scary. Why I know he's scary? Because he's the guy that at Theater Bazaar has 18 fishhooks in his back and swings from the ceiling.
I know that guy. Yeah,
we know that guy.
Yeah, we know
he's
that guy.
terrifying. He's terrifying when he's hung from the ceiling. Because... it's one thing if you're way $120 and you're hanging from the ceiling, like all the other ones do. There's all these twinks hanging from the ceiling. That's adorable.
Sean's
no big
in
deal.
now.
Yeah, okay, I get it. But he's a 300-pound human being hanging from fucking hooks from the ceiling and swinging and inviting people to swing him further. Yep. And I'm like, so when he shows up and I recognized him, and I was like, well, I know what this guy's up to. I do not want to end up wherever he's going to take me. So I was just like, please let him play along and think that this Nerf blaster might actually be able to shoot him. Let him be in character enough to acknowledge I got the drop on him. And he did. He backed away and he goes, all right, you can go.
You should have got on Ewan McGregor's bike and sped away.
Nice.
Dude, there were fucking 4 Obi-Wan Kenobis there, and one of them I thought was like, I think this guy has special facial reconstruction surgery just to be Obi-Wan. Because the level of commitment, there's this whole 501st Legion thing of guys that like make a $5,000 suit of Stormtrooper shit. Like, they're into it.
I think the most if you could find something that could be one of the holograms. Like, that would be a fucking costume.
Oh, shit.
Well, in front of the DJ booth, they've got a hologram screen up. So it's the whole band of like all those big-headed guys.
Oh, yeah.
And so, but behind him is the DJ, but you can't really see the DJ. So it's really cool. It's like nice. It's three-dimensional band playing. There's a lot of cool shit going on there, and the drink menu is fucking good.
I just like the fact that, like, this is the result of people that in their 20s were like, I want to make our own world someday.
Yes.
And now that people have the means, they're making their fucking own world.
Exactly.
And it's fucking great, man.
And it's like the rest of the year, this is an art gallery, you know, a warehouse-type art gallery in Detroit. And for a couple of weekends, they unload 5 or 6 shipping containers full of Star Wars. Nice. And, you know, they create an environment that has a dance hall, a bar, you know, all this cool shit.
I have a question.
Yes.
Knowing that Disney is a cocksucker, is
Mm-hmm.
this billed as, like, Friends of Star League?
It is just Space Dive 313. It is just, that's what it is. It's Space Dive. That's what it's called. Look it up. It's really cool. And yeah. Okay, all the marketing shit this year. Do you remember the Star Wars playing cards when we were kids?
Yeah.
The one that had like a little border on it and stuff?
I have them.
You do?
I have a whole box
You
of
do?
them. Yeah.
All of their...
I have the stickers, a whole bunch of stickers.
You do?
Yeah.
All the swag, all the stuff, all the promotional material for this year was those cards. And then for the big posters you stick up on things, they were like those cards, but this big and like made of the right cardboard and feathered edges and like kind of distressed. And I was like... Oh, this is what happens when you said it, when the arty guys, the arty girls have a little bit of money and want to really dedicate themselves to something.
Nice.
And I do give, I give a lot of props to that because...
I love it because it shows passion in something. There's not a lot of people that have passion for things anymore.
Yeah, and there's
they just
like...
go along with whatever. Or if you're like, oh, I'm a Star Wars guy, what did you do? I watched the movies.
No,
well, no.
There's a 3-dimensional A-Wing fighter right there in front of you at full scale. Like, it's not... small.
Oh, you
it's
guys are
full
making me
size.
homesick.
Yeah, it's a little bit more than the gold, purple, and green beads. This is where people are like, you see some, you know, people just put a lot of time and effort into it, and there's a lot. That's really cool. And sometimes if you want to walk around and just kind of like, or if you want to be in character and just completely live it up, do that too. What I learned was I was too clean. Tomorrow I'm not going to make that mistake. I'm going to make sure I fucking properly grubby myself up before I go back in there. Because I looked around at a lot of the other people that were enjoying it, and they had done a good job of making their shit look like they were in a distressed situation.
Well, that is important. Like, even like in the thing...
My shit looked too fresh.
Well, we were talking about like RC cars and stuff, and like guys that weather them.
Yeah.
You can do an amazing job of weathering it, but if you don't take actual mud and throw it on it and do something, it looks like, oh, wow, that's a really clean, dirty vehicle.
Or we say like, that's the bass boat patina.
Yeah.
You know, you got like, oh, this perfect metal flake patina. Yeah, it is. There's something to be said for that. And I enjoy the fact that in the past 20 years, that whole patina thing has become more fun. Yeah. That it's become like a little bit cooler to have your motor run just right and end up with patina. All right, play us out of here, John.
Ding it.